our water bodies. Plus this year,
we haven't had a lot of weather cycles to disturb the systems, and so that, I think that can add to some of these blooms occurring.
This year, harmful algae has been spotted around Zion National Park as well as Provo Bay on Utah Lake. Bailey says some places might not see harmful algae until as late as this fall, but for now, if you see any algae, especially if it's a blue-green color, don't swim in it, don't drink it, and don't let your pets near it either, or you could end up getting sick.
It's really hard to know whether it's going to be toxic or not, so just best to stay out if you see anything.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
A neighborhood in Lehi has been put on water restrictions while the city works on building a new pressurized irrigation reservoir. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
People in the Violetto area on Traverse Mountain were supposed to have a new irrigation reservoir up and running in April. But there were delays. The system, it's not ready. So right now, they're watering their lawns with culinary water. Because of that, the city has implemented what they call Type 2 water restrictions. Basically, it means people in the impacted areas, they can only water their lawns twice a week, and they're asking people not to install new sod. A post on the city website outlines the impacted area and says they hope to have the pressurized irrigation system up and running by July 1st. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
A pipe project that will bring water to Iron County is back under review after being on pause for several years.
The Pine Valley Water Supply Project would construct a 66-mile-long pipe transporting water from Beaver to Iron County. The project has been on hold for the past 2 years. Then the Bureau of Land Management announced they'll continue their review. Paul Monroe with the Iron County Water Conservation District says Cedar Valley will especially benefit since they depend entirely on wells for water.
And that's why it's really important for this Pine Valley project is just so that we can diversify our water portfolio. Similar to a good financial portfolio, you want to have different investments.
The project includes not just the pipe, but also solar, transmission lines, and several wells. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. House Speaker Mike Johnson says California Governor Gavin Newsom should be, quote, tarred and feathered for his state's handling of the anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more.
The House Speaker says his party stands squarely behind the president's decision to federalize the California National Guard and to mobilize hundreds of active duty Marines.
Do your job, man. That's what I tell Gavin Newsom.
Mike Johnson tells reporters he isn't sure if California's governor should be arrested, which is something President Trump said would be great.
But he ought to be tarred and feathered, I'll say that.
Newsom responded on X, calling the reference to the colonial punishment a fitting threat, quote, given the GOP want to bring our country back to the 18th century. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is defending some of the budget proposals to members of a House Appropriations Subcommittee today. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
This is a budget hearing. It's a hearing about the Pentagon's budget, a budget that the Pentagon hasn't yet finished and submitted to Congress. So that issue is somewhat taking center stage, just the politics of getting that budget together, and frankly, the back and forth between Democrats saying they want their hands on this document and questioning why the administration hasn't really submitted that plan here. But Hegseth on the Hill for 2 other days this week as well.
Hegseth insists the department is cutting unnecessary spending. Lawyers say Michigan State University is settling a lawsuit with the 3 surviving victims of a 2023 mass shooting on campus. ABC's Chuck Sievertson has the details.
In the settlement announced Tuesday, about $14 million goes to Nathan Statley, who was shot in the head and suffered a traumatic brain injury. Troy Forbush receives $2.5 million. He was shot in the chest. $13 million goes to John Howe, a Chinese student who was shot in the back and left paralyzed from the chest down. In a statement, Michigan State says it hopes the resolution provides some measure of relief, support, and care to those injured and their families.
In the 2023 shooting, 3 students were killed and 5 others injured. Police said the gunman died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. First look traffic, here's Ricky Meese.
We are back to a crash-free commute. The accident we had in Utah County on the exit ramp from southbound I-15 at Highway 6 in Spanish Fork has been cleared. But we do have slowdowns, and that's southbound I-15 in Davis County, Kaysville to Farmington. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
This show's going to be different.
The new Inside Sources.
We have the desire to help you understand the issues that are impacting you on your family level.
Hi, I'm Holly Richardson.
My name is Greg Skortis.
Join Inside Sources this week, 9 to noon.
On KSL News Radio.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Summer is right around the corner.
Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings, stunning results, only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Repair or replace your roof now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. 12 months interest-free financing. The highest value roofing job in Utah. Dial pound 250 and then say S&S Roofing.
A bomb threat has shut down key government buildings in Utah County. We'll continue to provide you updates as we learn more about the situation. KSL News Time, 12:08. Corey Richens' trial will stay in Summit County. The Camas mother accused of poisoning her husband had filed an appeal to the state Supreme Court asking for her trial to be moved to Salt Lake County. Her lawyers argued she wouldn't be able to get a fair jury in Summit County because of the media coverage. That appeal was denied. UDOT maintains about 200 weather stations across the state to keep drivers safe on the roads, and it's time to make sure they're still working. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly reports.
Utah's roads are greatly affected by the weather: snow, rain and floods, and heat. UDOT spokesman John Gleason says the weather stations help them pinpoint where their resources are needed.
We're going out there twice a year to make sure everything's functioning properly and that we're getting all of the information that we need from these sensors.
Gleason says having correct data saves taxpayers millions of dollars each year. A survey from 5 years ago estimated the state saved $2.2 million. Gleason says it's probably much more in today's dollars. He says UDOT's goal is to keep people safe, so maintenance costs of the weather stations is worth it. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
St. George is one of America's fastest growing cities, and leaders say they're preparing for a lot more development. The population of the city has doubled since the year 2000, and housing prices have shot up. Amy Palmer is a longtime resident and tells KSL TV she worries her children won't be able to afford living there.
I have 2 younger boys and my daughter, and they're in a townhome, but my other 2, they're like, I don't know if we can afford to even a starter home.
City planners say they face challenges getting developers to invest in affordable housing instead of large homes and resorts. KSL News Time, 12:09. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
The crash has been cleared, but we're still seeing delays in the Springville Spanish Fork area. We had an accident on the exit ramp from southbound I-15 at the Highway 6 junction. And even though it had been blocking traffic, all lanes are now open, but we have backups. So if you're going to be traveling southbound I-15 and coming from Provo, just be aware delays will start after 4th South in Springville. We also have slowdowns in place for Davis County drivers. Southbound I-15, this is all due to road work going from Kaysville into Farmington, crash-free on your Salt Lake County freeways. A huge spike in your water bill? You might have a leak in your culinary or secondary water line. Utah Utility Pro Repairs stop and waste and pressure release valves. Visit UtahUtilityPro.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, I'm keeping it hot today. 94 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and of course, some pop-up isolated mountain storms. Overnight, mostly clear skies with a low of 68. We'll rise back up to 96 tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy generally, but a 20% chance to see some of those mountain storms drift into the valley. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 87 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Coming up on midday, the Trump administration is sending hundreds of Marines to Los Angeles to help with the ICE protests, but the city's mayor isn't sure they need the help. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Imagine waking up every morning with a smile you're proud of. No more hiding, no more pain. Stubbs Dental Implant Center, Utah's Best of State winner for 3 years in a row, has helped thousands of people ditch the dentures and say goodbye to missing or broken teeth. Their expert team specializes in giving you a permanent, natural-looking smile with dental implants that feel and function just like real teeth. With over 2,000 five-star Google reviews, their patients say it best.
Dental implants gave me my life back. I feel confident again. I feel like I can be myself.
There was no way I was getting dentures. Getting dental implants from Stubbs Dental has been the best decision of my life.
Let the expert team at Stubbs Dental help you take the first step to changing your life with dental implants. Schedule your complimentary consultation today, a $350 value, absolutely free. Visit StubbsDental.com today. That's StubbsDental.com. StubbsDental.com.
It's Julie from the Cache Valley Visitors Bureau inviting you to come to Logan and celebrate summer right. First, this Thursday through Saturday, it's the 41st annual Summerfest Arts Fair, and it's free. Discover 168 regional artists showcasing jewelry, fine arts, and crafts, all while you listen to live music and eat great food. 38 live performances and 30 food trucks. Did I mention Summerfest is free? Then check out free hour-long concerts at the Tabernacle downtown at noon every weekday, the free Gardeners Market on Saturdays, and the new downtown plaza with a splash pad and free concerts on Wednesdays and Fridays. Don't forget your hotel, which is not quite free, is only 10 minutes from the National Forest for hiking and biking and stunning scenery. Celebrate summer in Logan. It's not 3 hours from Salt Lake, it's only 90 minutes, so just get in a car. Dozens of unique restaurants, Cache Valley Foodie Trek, festivals and fun, Broadway performances and concerts, and small town charm. ExploreLogan.com. ExploreLogan.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
heads up if you're planning a trip out to the water, harmful algal blooms are starting to pop up around the state. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, all of Utah County's government offices are closed while Provo police investigate a bomb threat. Third, traffic and weather together.
New trouble in traffic. This is in Salt Lake County. If you're headed eastbound on I-80, it's a little bit heavy and slow between the West Belt and the I-15 junction. We do have some emergency vehicles over to the right shoulder just after Redwood Road, and that's causing some slowdowns. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be hot with highs in the 90s today and a slight chance for a mountain storm. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 87 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump defending his decision to send National Guard troops to Los Angeles due to protests against immigration raids. California's governor suing to stop that deployment, saying state and local authorities are dealing with the protesters in the area. Now the GOP leader in the House is saying California's governor should be held accountable for his state's handling of the unrest.
The House Speaker says his party stands squarely behind the president's decision to federalize the California National Guard and to mobilize hundreds of active duty Marines.
Do your job, man. That's what I tell Gavin Newsom.
Mike Johnson tells reporters he isn't sure if California's governor should be arrested, which is something President Trump said would be great.
But he ought to be tarred and feathered, I'll say that.
Newsom responded on X, calling the reference to the colonial punishment a fitting threat, quote, given the GOP want to bring our country back to the 18th century. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
A major shakeup at the CDC that could impact the future of vaccines. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. terminating all members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee. He says to restore public trust in vaccines. RFK Jr. says he'll pick the replacements. In southeast Austria, authorities say a gunman opened fire today at a school in the city of Graz, killing 9 and wounding a dozen others before turning the gun on himself. ABC's James Longman has more when the incident unfolded.
Gunfire was heard at around 10 o'clock local time this morning. This is in Graz, which is a city in the southeast of the country, the second largest city in Austria. Special forces and a police helicopter have been deployed, as well as other emergency services. The school has now been evacuated and students are receiving care either on site or at local hospitals.
Police say the suspect is a 21-year-old former student at that school. The motive remains under investigation. On Wall Street, stocks are higher in afternoon trading as U.S. and China talks continue and progress. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. The Trump administration is sending hundreds of Marines to Los Angeles to help with the ICE protests. Mayor Karen Bass says she's not sure why they're coming.
This is just absolutely unnecessary. People have asked me, what are the Marines going to do when they get here? That's a good question. I have no idea. The National Guard that are here now have one assignment, and that is to protect one building, which is the Federal Building downtown. The second building, which is the Federal Building on Westwood Boulevard. And as far as I know, nothing has happened in Westwood at all. So this was not needed. The idea that the administration would usurp the authority of our state government, take it away from our governor, Gavin Newsom. The governor knows that if we put a request in for the National Guard and it went to him, he would comply. There was never an issue there because we were never thinking about calling upon the National Guard. So I do want you to know that the violence that has happened has required LAPD to ask for additional assistance, but not from the federal government. We are a county of 88 cities. There's a number of police departments in those cities, and we have the sheriff's department. And so we have received assistance from the California Highway Patrol. I mentioned the sheriffs from Orange County, San Bernardino, Riverside, Santa Barbara, Ventura County, and a number of law enforcement departments around the county.
Bass says many people in the city are concerned that they could be arrested and questioning why they're being considered as part of the problem. KSL News Time 12:19, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card program. Here's Ricky Meese.
It looks like we have another problem on the exit ramp from southbound I-15 at Highway 6, and this time it's blocking the left lanes. Most of the exit ramp, part of the ramp is open, part of it is closed. So if you're trying to get through Spanish Fork, that might be a spot you want to avoid. It is causing some backups on that off-ramp in Utah County. In Salt Lake County, we have what looks to be a crash or some kind of problem with trouble in traffic. This is eastbound I-80 after Redwood Road. It has caused some backup, but that's starting to clear out. And in the road work area on southbound I-15 in Davis County, where we've already had delays, we now have an accident southbound. It's in Kaysville, not far from the Kaysville Ponds. It's over to the left, so you'll still see slowdowns going from Kaysville down to the Highway 89 merge in Farmington. Jordan Valley Water says we're using about 12% more water than last year, even though we don't need to. Let's fix that. Water 1 day less each week. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, keeping it hot, folks. 94 today, partly cloudy skies, and a chance for thunder in the mountains. Tomorrow we'll do a similar deal, but hotter, 96. Partly cloudy and a 20% chance to see some of those mountain storms roll into the valley. Sunshine and hot temperatures into the 90s for Thursday and Friday. Saturday, 96. We go 95 on Sunday. That's Father's Day, mostly sunny skies. How about 93 to follow on Monday with mostly clear skies? From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 87 degrees and mostly sunny in Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real customer of the Good Feet store who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet store.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Schedule your free test walk at goodfeet.com.
Spring cleaning season is wrapping up, but it's not too late to give your carpets the ultimate refresh. Whether it's dirt from foot traffic, pet stains, or just the wear and tear of everyday life, Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning can bring your floors back to life. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $129 when you mention KSL. Zero Res uses a patented cleaning process with no soaps, no harsh chemicals, and no residue, so your carpets dry faster and stay cleaner longer. That means a healthier home for your family, pets, and guests. Don't wait until the craziness of summer is in full swing. Make your home feel fresh, clean, and truly ready for the season ahead. And get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $129 when you mention KSL. Call Zero Res or schedule online at zerores.com to get your home cleaned the right way. Zerores.com.
1847. Our home Utah takes shape. A century later, Utah's home champion is born. Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has earned the trust of over 250,000 Utah homeowners, with techs who rise above to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Championing the spirit of 47, Whipple is offering $47 off any home repair or service, including drain clearings. Act now and call Whipple Service Champions at 801-896-1947 for the win today.
Giving the gift of time during the holidays is a hallmark of the season, but the need for kind hearts and an extra pair of hands is here all year long. You Serve Utah is encouraging Utahns across the state to pledge now to serve those in need in the coming year. You and your family will help spread the holiday spirit long after the holidays have passed. When will you pledge? To sign up, visit www.userve.utah.gov.
Governor Spencer Cox is encouraging families to strengthen their relationships this week. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The governor's calling it Family Connection Week, and it's part of what he has deemed Family Strengthening Month, running from Mother's Day to Father's Day.
Spending quality time with each other strengthens our bonds, fosters better communication, and creates memories that we can cherish.
This week, he's encouraging families to take part in screen-free activities, allowing them to communicate better and spend quality time together. Those activities can be anything from cooking dinner and eating together, going on a hike, or even just playing a board game. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's money. If you've ever wanted to rent a pool, but not a whole house, you're in luck. A new app called Swimply is allowing users to rent backyard pools by the hour. When it comes to liability, the app is patterned on Airbnb, offering pool rental hosts $1 million in liability coverage. Paramount is cutting 3% of its U.S. workforce. It's the latest rounds of layoffs as it prepares to merge with Skydance Media. People switching jobs are not just looking for new employers, they're looking for new fields. Indeed says 64% of workers who switched jobs from 2022 to 2024 also changed careers. More people are leaving hospitality, arts, and entertainment jobs. Your money at this moment, a little bit of a mixed market. The Dow is off 10 points, but the S&P has gained 12 points. The Nasdaq has gained 39 points. McDonald's is dropping a new summer treat. It's a S'mores McFlurry. That sounds really good. It's available now, but not for long. It's a limited edition flavor, and maybe it'll tide over customers until the highly anticipated snack wrap returns. Honestly, I'd rather go
The
McFlurry.
kind of inside scoop you only get from KSL. Editor of Utah Policy, Holly Richardson, a.k.a. Holly on the Hill, and KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. Greg and Holly make up the new Inside Sources, 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
All in together now, we can make it better. Can we do it? We'll rope it up.
Cause we know how to jump.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
KSL News Time at 12:28. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards Credit Card Promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Lanes blocked with an accident in Utah County. This is on the exit ramp from southbound I-15 to go eastbound on Highway 6. You cannot make that eastbound turn. The other lanes that are open are to go westbound on Highway 6. We also have a crash in Davis County. It's in the heart of the road work. It's southbound to I-15 in Kaysville, not far from the ponds. It's over to the left shoulder. Also, and we also have crews still on the scene eastbound to I-80 over to the right shoulder after Redwood Road. But the good news is the backups that they were causing have cleared. Not really sure if that's a medical emergency, but they're there on the scene and not blocking traffic. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at GoPaveUtah.com. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Call or visit GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, partly cloudy skies today with a high of 94 degrees. There's also a slight chance for a pop-up mountain storm. 68 in the overnight. We'll go to 96 tomorrow. Partly cloudy again, but a 20% chance to see some of those mountain storms move in Wednesday afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 88 degrees
You're
in
listening
Salt
to
Lake City.
Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time 12:30. KSL's top story this hour. We're continuing to follow breaking news out of Provo. A bomb threat has shut down all Utah County government buildings as police continue to investigate. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is in Provo and joins us live with the latest. Eric?
Good
Britt, I'm just outside the historic courthouse here in downtown Provo, where police just confirmed to us this is now being treated as they're saying that they thought it was a credible bomb threat. It started at the Utah County Administration building across the street. Officers in the Metro Bomb Squad are actively sweeping the area as we speak, but now police tell us they've received additional threats at a nearby credit union and the Provo City Library. They did sweep those buildings, and there was no actual threat. Right now, Center Street is open. All the streets kind of surrounding the area are open. I am still seeing heavy police presence, and crews are standing by as the investigation unfolds. And once again, police are asking the public to avoid the area completely if you can, and we'll keep you updated as soon as we learn more. Live in Provo, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Residents in the Ogden Valley's new unnamed city-to-be are looking forward to new local government positions. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
37 people applied for mayoral and council positions, currently called Ogden Valley City. It covers the area around Pineview Reservoir on the eastern side of the Wasatch Mountains. It includes the Eden area and even Nordic Valley. An estimated 7,600 people live within the city boundaries. 4 hopefuls are trying for mayor. The others are trying for 2- and 4-year term council seats. Primary voting starts this August, and the victors will be sworn in next January. The winners also get to choose the official name of the city. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Utah has been named one of the best states for kids, but analysts say we still have improvements to make. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Utah was named the 4th best state in the nation for kids in this year's Kids Count data book by the Annie E. Casey Foundation, but analysts noted a quarter of all of our children live in homes where their parents are having to spend more than 30% of the recommended monthly income on rent or the mortgage. Analysts also say nearly 2/3 of our 4th graders are not proficient in reading, and nearly 2/3 of our 8th graders are not on their grade level in math.
On the plus side, analysts say we have a low number of single-parent households, and we're seeing less kids living in poverty. Utah State University is asking for help in finding a new president. The school is hosting in-person and virtual listening sessions. Community members, USU employees, and students can tell the university what they're looking for in the next president. The former president announced her resignation in February. The Utah Board of Higher Education has also formed a committee to select the new president. Scammers are now targeting people to get or renew their passports and visas. KSL News Radio's Jose Sanchez has more.
These websites often look like real government websites.
A lot of these impersonations will have maybe state in it, or even I just did a quick search for passport renewal, and the first thing that came up had .gov in the name, and then it was a .com.
Better Business Bureau Outreach Vice President Timothy Johnston says these sites will ask for information like your date of birth and social security number. He says if you had given one of these sites your personal information, to report it to the Federal Trade Commission and to the BBB Scam Tracker. Josue Sanchez, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. 9 people, including the shooter, are dead and at least 12 others are injured after a school shooting in Austria. ABC's Maggie Rulli has more.
More than 300 police officers responded to the shooting. They were able to secure the scene within 17 minutes. We're also getting new details about the shooter himself. Police say he was a 21-year-old Austrian citizen, a former student of the school who never graduated, and they believe he acted alone, although they're still investigating the motive behind the shooting. Now, the governor of the region today in a press conference said it is a day of sorrow and processing the dramatic incident, and they've declared 3 days of national mourning.
Officials say the shooter was a former student. Search teams in Washington state appear to be ramping up their activity today in the search for the father at the center of a massive manhunt. Brooke Griffin is a reporter for Cairo 7 TV in Seattle.
As soon as it got just light out enough, they did send those crews in to that wooded area that they said, again, the Ingalls Creek and Valley High area. I have seen so many different types of law enforcement running up and down 97 already this morning, seemingly creating a perimeter of some sort around this area.
Crews have been searching for Travis Decker since late May, when he was supposed to return his 3 daughters to their mother's home but never showed up. Deputies found the girls' bodies near their Cascade Mountains campsite. Decker faces charges of murder and kidnapping. First Look Traffic, here's Ricky Meese.
We do have a portion of the exit ramp closed off due to a crash. This is in Utah County. You cannot turn eastbound onto Highway 6 from southbound to I-15. You can make that westbound turn, but eastbound blocked to traffic at the exit ramp. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
The most important part of all our news stories at KSL are the people involved. Introducing an expanded new news show. Listen to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Listen in your car between noon and 3 on KSL News Radio.
Incredible savings on all Bernina machines at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George.
Don't miss our sun-kissed savings, such as $200 to $400 off machines $2,000 to $5,000, $500 to $700 off machines $5,000 to $8,000, $800 to $1,000 discounts on machines $8,000 to $15,000. And get $1,500 savings on machines $15,000 and up. Plus a limited time offer of 2.99% interest for 60 months on certain machines.
Come in now for bargains on trade-ins, classroom, and demo machines that come with warranties.
The Burnett 33 machine is only $199 and the Burnett Academy $349.
Come see the Bernina 990, the most amazing revolutionary sewing machine in the world.
With a discount up to $1,500.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave'sBernina.com.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Provo police are asking people to avoid the area near 100 East and Center Street as they continue to investigate a bomb threat. KSL News Time, 12:38. Positive conversations and interactions with and about your body can have a bigger impact on overall health than weight loss surgery.
A study from the University of Utah shows that when people have positive interactions surrounding their body, they're more likely to have better mental health, eating habits, and overall health. First author on the study and clinical psychologist Larissa McGarity says she hopes that as a result of the study, healthcare providers will improve how they have conversations about weight and weight loss with patients.
Way we explain to patients that weight is in fact quite complicated, and that we understand that, and that we understand the impact that stigma has on their health as well, and that we see them as a whole person and want to treat them that way.
She says a way they can do that is by using language that puts a patient first. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Remember when we were told to keep an eye out for murder hornets back in 2019? Well, now we're being told to watch out for Asian needle ants. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Asian needle ants were first found in the U.S. nearly a century ago, but this summer, they're starting to show up in more places, now confirmed in 17 states. Their painful sting can pierce through clothing, and it can cause some people to go into anaphylaxis, where they struggle to breathe. I've seen some online reports saying they thought they found some of these ants in Utah in the past, but the current infestation map, it shows Washington State as being the nearest location dealing with these ants. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Sad news out of Hogle Zoo. A gray fox at the zoo is dead. The zoo says Juniper died earlier this week because of a condition that caused fluid to build up around her brain. The fox's care team described Juniper as sweet, brave, and determined. KSL News Time, 12:39. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Definitely some problems out there in Utah County. We'll start there. We do have a crash on the exit ramp from southbound I-15 to go eastbound on Highway 6 in Spanish Fork. Those lanes to go eastbound on Highway 6 are completely blocked. You can make the westbound exit portion of the exit ramp. Those lanes are still open. But this has actually caused some backups onto the main flow of southbound I-15. Now, in Salt Lake County, we have what was originally reported as a crash and now is emergency maintenance on the roadway northbound State Street between 1700 and 1500 South. Traffic can get through there, but there's only one left lane of travel that is open. Eastbound I-80 emergency crews over to the right shoulder, but delays have cleared. This is just after Redwood Road. And for Davis County drivers, a crash right in the roadwork area southbound on I-15 in Kaysville, not far from the ponds. It's still a little bogged down and slow going from Kaysville to Farmington. Garden City, Utah, in beautiful Bear Lake, presents Little Texas on July 5th at Garden City Heritage Park. Games, live music, and a fireworks show. All free. Visit bearlake.org for details. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
All right, temperatures are going to be airing on the hot side today, folks. I got a high of 94 when the normal is around 82 degrees. Look for partly cloudy skies by afternoon, and if you look up to the mountaintops, you might even see a couple of rumbles of thunder. 68 in the overnight, mostly clear skies. We'll go 96 tomorrow, partly cloudy, and a very slight chance for a mountain storm to roll into the valley. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 88 degrees and partly sunny in Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, Utah Congressman Blake Moore says DOJ expectations to cut $1 trillion from the budget were unrealistic. He'll share his thoughts on what DOJ's future looks like. That's next, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
Are you looking for the perfect downtown lunch spot? The Garden Restaurant is opening on June 30th in Salt Lake City. Enjoy a reimagined space and a fresh, healthy menu featuring handcrafted sandwiches, rich soups, unique salads, and their famous homemade pot pies. You'll see and taste the difference in every menu item. The Garden is perfect for lunch meetings, taking a break while out shopping, or a spring stroll downtown. Visit the reimagined space with remarkable taste. Grab and go or stay and dine in using a new online ordering option. Find entry from the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, open Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant is opening June 30th. Hope to see you there. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. thegardenslc.com.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want you to know that it's the little things that count. Any remodeler can say they treat customers right when it comes to siding, gutters, windows, and exteriors. It's hard to know for sure. If a contractor uses cheap generic nails instead of super grippy ridge shaft nails for your siding, would you even know? If they use cheap $4 caulk to install your new windows instead of paying $9 a tube for the good stuff, could you tell by looking? It all comes down to the details and trust. At RGS Exteriors, we only do things one way, the right way. We never cut corners. We never skimp on details. We never do less than the job requires. That's why we offer our industry's exclusive 10-year everything guarantee. And it's why we have the happiest customers. If you need any gutters, siding, or replacement windows, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online at rgsutah.com.
KSL News Time 12:45. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
a city in the Ogden Valley that doesn't even have a name yet is seeing high participation from residents, with over 30 people applying for mayoral and council seats. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, Provo police are asking people to avoid the area near 100 East and Center Street as they continue to investigate a bomb threat. Third, traffic and weather together.
A couple of problems for Davis County drivers. A new accident northbound I-15 near Glover Lane. And then on the southbound side, we've had that accident in Kaysville, not far from the ponds to the left. It's right in that construction zone, southbound I-15, going from Kaysville into Farmington. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Temperatures running 12 above the normal. Look for another hot one today, but a chance for a mountain storm. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 88 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. More military troops mobilized by President Trump are arriving in Los Angeles due to protests against ICE raids. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass at a briefing condemned the violence, but says local law enforcement does not need the military presence.
The unrest that has happened are a few blocks within the downtown area. It is not all of downtown, and it is not all of the city. Unfortunately, the visuals make it seem as though our entire city is in flames, and it is not the case.
In Southeast Austria, authorities say a 21-year-old former student opened fire today at a school in the city of Graz, killing 9 and wounding a dozen others before turning the gun on himself. The motive still under investigation. Brazil's former president, Jair Bolsonaro, testifying for the first time before Brazil's highest court over an alleged coup and plot to remain in power and overturn the results of the 2022 election. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. While Elon Musk may be leaving the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, isn't going anywhere, Utah Congressman Blake Moore co-chairs the Congressional DOGE Caucus and told Inside Sources his thoughts on what's next for the department.
There's so many things within the DOGE world that should actually garner a lot of bipartisan support, right? They tackled, and I wish they would have just focused on some of this, like they tackled things like software programs where there's a lot of duplicative work done in government software programs, and we don't need multiple systems for a similar objective. They went after this Treasury Department has payment systems that go out, and sometimes there's not even descriptions required under these payment systems, and so fixing those types of process can actually do a lot of good to save a lot of money, and really nobody should object to that type of stuff. That's what we were thinking. We were going more into this on the front end. We were excited about some of those things that they were uncovering, but it became very rhetoric-filled, and you saw a lot of partisan language coming out. You mentioned the chainsaw, right? Famously, he showed up on CPAC, which, kind of a very conservative group. In order for these changes to get enacted, they have to pass legislation that meets a 60-vote threshold in the Senate about sustaining change going forward. There's some things we can pull back. They only require a simple majority, and we'll be doing some of that in the next little while. But the real big changes, like there's a lot of good that can be done. So that's what we'll focus on. There's so much money going to NGOs during pandemic and during some of the immigration crisis we saw over the last few years. That money's pretty unaccounted for, and DOGE was doing a good job to account for that. So we want to pick up the good stuff that was going on. Hopefully there'll be more interaction, because there hasn't been a lot of interaction between the congressional DOGE appointees. Like I was asked by the speaker to head this up, given my consulting background and more of a substantive approach. Then I'm not a guy that gets out and
with the
spreads
chainsaw.
a lot of yeah, like that kind of stuff. So we're hopeful we can find some of that stuff that can actually be sustainable going forward. And if we can uncover more of it, work together better, that would be great.
Moore says Elon Musk's calls to cut $1 trillion from the budget wasn't possible. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, crews are working on a main break that has affected the roadway in those right lanes of travel northbound on State Street between 1700 and 1500 South. For Utah County drivers, we have had an accident on the exit ramp from southbound I-15 at the Highway 6 junction in Spanish Fork. It had been blocking all of the eastbound turn lanes of traffic. They're starting to open it up, and the crash is in the clearing, but just watch for those cones there and get yourself around those carefully. And then we have an accident in Davis County. On the northbound side, a crash by Glover Lane in Farmington, and then on the southbound side, the clearing of an accident in the construction zone in Kaysville. But you'll still see some heavy and slow traffic on southbound I-15 going from the Kaysville Ponds down to Park Lane. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too. The Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, 94 today, partly cloudy skies with a chance for a mountain thunderstorm. Tomorrow, 96. We'll see those mountain storms again, but there's a 20 to 30% chance we could see one try to drift into the valley. That'll be Wednesday afternoon. 92, sunshine on Thursday. Friday, sunny, 95. Saturday, 96, mostly sunny skies. We keep it in the mid-90s. For your Father's Day, mostly sunny skies. 93 with mostly clear conditions on Monday. It's a hot forecast. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 89 degrees in Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Do you have something special coming up this summer, something that you want to look your best for? Maybe you have a wonderful wedding or possibly a cruise. If you would like to lose some weight, I want to tell you about a great program. It is Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I have lost more than 40 pounds with this great program, 25 pounds of that in the first 60 days. This program keeps you motivated because you burn off that stored fat quickly, and that just keeps you on track because you can see a difference that it's making. This is an all-natural program. There are no injections, no surgery, no medication, so there are no side effects. Plus, it's not as expensive as other programs because there aren't all those things, those prepackaged meals or other products, the bars that you're required to buy. Plus, their app is great. It gives you daily inspiration and great ideas. Find out how you can save $200 now at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them at 801-450-1882. slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You've built the dream, the home, the lifestyle, the legacy. Now it's time your windows and doors reflect that same $1 million standard. Whether you're designing a stunning custom home or upgrading the one you've loved for years, Peach Doors and Windows is here to bring that vision to life with precision, style, and craftsmanship.
The Peach specialty? High-end custom windows and doors that don't just fit your space, they elevate it. From sleek modern lines to timeless elegant finishes, they offer the kinds of craftsmanship that truly complements a $1 million space. And with Peach, the process is easy. No pressure, no gimmicks, just knowledgeable experts helping you find solutions to turn your someday project into right now.
Visit their spacious showroom, get inspired, and create something beautiful together. Peach Doors and Windows for the $1 million home you live in and the $1 million feeling you deserve. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 today.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
We've now learned Provo police are allowing people back into the Utah County government offices. Police say they evacuated everyone from the administration building and historic courthouse as a precaution. Police say they didn't find anything after sweeping both buildings. They're now looking for the person who called in the bomb threat this morning. Watching Utah's money, we'll take a look at the numbers here right away. It is looking better. The Dow is up 60 points. The S&P has gained 23 points. And the NASDAQ has gained 84 points. Whole Foods shoppers could be seeing less products on the shelf this week. The store's distributor was hit with a cyber attack. The company didn't release too many details, but said it could impact their ability to fulfill and distribute customer orders.
Discover the timeless value at Duke's Jewelers, a local treasure since 1948. Whether you're searching for a unique engagement ring or need expert watch repair, Duke's has been serving the community for over 75 years. It's the perfect time to visit and explore the wide selection of custom designs and quality gemstones. The skilled designers at Duke's can bring your dream piece to life, while experienced jewelers handle repairs and modifications in-house. Duke's Jewelers takes pride in value pricing, ensuring you receive the best prices every day. Need an appraisal? The Duke's Jewelers AGS certified gemologist is here to help. Whether it's hand or machine engraving, or redesigning old favorites into something new, get personalized service for every occasion. Visit Duke's Jewelers and experience the difference of locally operated expertise and dedication. Duke's Jewelers in Springfield, Utah.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird.
Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
We do have all lanes of travel opening up on the exit ramp to go eastbound on Highway 6 from southbound to I-15. A small accident out of traffic northbound I-15 in Farmington, and State Street drivers, be aware right lanes are blocked due to emergency road work. This is northbound State Street between 1700 and 1500 South. It's time to try UTA. Less stress, no traffic, and more U-time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're gearing up for some hot weather. Well, I guess not gearing up. We're in it. Today, a high of 94 degrees, shooting up to 96 tomorrow, and we're going to stay in those mid-90s for about the next 7 days. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 89 degrees in Salt Lake City. Let's take a look at a couple more locations. If you're up north in Logan, it's 85 degrees right now. Down in St. George, you're already hitting 96 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Protests in Los Angeles entering another day, and President Trump isn't backing down on his military moves against the riots.
If there's an insurrection, I would certainly invoke it. We'll see, but I can tell you last night was terrible.
The time is 1 o'clock on Tuesday, June 10th. It's midday. I'm Britt Johnson, in for Maria Shilaos today. Coming up, more on the legal fight between the federal, state, and local governments over responses to the protests. Also this hour,
we want to move fast. Doesn't mean we can't do so without a seatbelt.
Why Utah lawmakers are opposed to a part of the One Big Beautiful bill dealing with AI regulation. But first, our top stories. Utah County's government offices are open again after police say there was a bomb threat. Police evacuated and closed the administration building and the historic courthouse just off 100 East and Center Street. They've given the all clear and are looking for whoever called in the threat. Our top national story, thousands more troops are arriving in Los Angeles against the wishes of local police as protests continue in the city. ABC's Alex Stone reports from L.A.
Today here, 2,100 more members of the National Guard are arriving after President Trump federalized them in addition to the 2,000 he ordered deployed earlier in the week, and 700 active duty Marines are arriving from 29 Palms, California. They arrive as the LAPD is saying the mission of the federal troops is not clear, and the police chief saying they, quote, present a significant logistical challenge for those of us charged with safeguarding the city, end quote. The National Guard has weapons that are not loaded, and they do not have law enforcement authority under federal law as of now.
We're hearing reaction from top Republican and Democrat leaders of the nation. Former Democratic Speaker Nancy Pelosi blasted President Trump's decision to send thousands of National Guard. She called the move a distraction.
They are deporting people for obeying the law. So, as others have said, it's a distraction. It's really stupid because we understand that we are a nation of immigrants.
The current top Republican in the House, Governor Gavin Gavin Newsom should be tarred and feathered for his state's handling of the ICE protests. ABC's News national correspondent.
The House Speaker says his party stands squarely behind the president's decision to federalize the California National Guard and to mobilize hundreds of active duty Marines.
Do your job, man. That's what I tell Gavin Newsom.
Mike Johnson tells reporters he isn't sure if California's governor should be arrested, which is something President Trump said would be great.
But he ought to be tarred and feathered, I'll say that.
Newsom responded on X, calling the reference to the colonial punishment a fitting threat, quote, given the GOP want to bring our country back to the 18th century. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
And we'll be hearing more about the latest at the protests in just a moment. Your money at this moment, taking a look at Wall Street, the Dow up 106 points. The S&P has also gained 30 points. The NASDAQ is up 111 points. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Slow speeds possible. It's all due to road work southbound I-15 in Davis County, going from Kaysville into Farmington, and right lanes blocked due to emergency road work northbound on State Street, 1700 to 1500 south. Are you fighting a sewer line surprise, or has your barbecue gas line gone rogue? Utah Utility Pro tackles all your plumbing nightmares. Expert repairs, fast service, UtahUtilityPro.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
High temperatures in the 90s all this next week. Right now, it's 89 degrees and partly sunny from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better. Stay fresher under pressure.
We're continuing to follow developing news on KSL about a series of bomb threats that put parts of downtown Provo on high alert this morning. Police now say the threat went beyond just a bomb and triggered evacuations across multiple buildings. This is Midday. I'm Britt Johnson in for Maria Shilaos today. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is live outside the historic courthouse with the latest on what happened and what investigators are looking into now. Eric?
Britt, I'm just outside the historic courthouse where things are calm now, but earlier today, as you said, the area was swarming with police and bomb squad units after a chilling call came into the Utah County government building just across the street. Provo police say someone got a call of a bomb threat, and whoever made that call said if it didn't go off within a certain time frame, they'd come back and shoot up the place. That triggered immediate evacuations at the government building and this courthouse. Provo police called in the Metro Bomb Squad, who swept the buildings while nearby streets, including Center Street, were shut down temporarily. Shortly after that first call, police say more threats came in, this time to a nearby credit union and the Provo City Library. Investigators say those additional threats turned out to be non-credible, but still forced extra precaution. Police are now trying to trace the phone numbers behind the threats, but believe the calls came from spoofed numbers, or in other words, they were masked or faked to hide the real source. In total, Provo say they received 3 separate threats. We're also hearing that similar threats were made in Midvale and also West Valley City during the same time frame. All buildings in the area have since been cleared and employees have returned to work, but the investigation is still active. Live in Provo, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
And we'll continue to follow this and bring you updates here on air and on KSLNewsRadio.com. In just a minute, we'll move to Los Angeles and go in depth on the riots and protests there. Stay with us.
Imagine waking up every morning with a smile you're proud of. No more hiding, no more pain. Stubbs Dental Implant Center, Utah's Best of State winner for 3 years in a row, has helped thousands of people ditch the dentures and say goodbye to missing or broken teeth. Their expert team specializes in giving you a permanent, natural-looking smile with dental implants that feel and function just like real teeth. With over 2,000 5-star Google reviews, their patients say it best.
Dental implants gave me my life back. I feel confident again. I feel like I can be myself.
There was no way I was getting dentures. Getting dental implants from Stubbs Dental has been the best decision of my life.
Let the expert team at Stubbs Dental help you take the first step to changing your life with dental implants. Schedule your complimentary consultation today, a $350 value, absolutely free. Visit StubbsDental.com today. That's StubbsDental.com. StubbsDental.com.
The protests and riots in Los Angeles are now in their 5th day. The president sending additional National Guard troops to the area, in addition to hundreds of Marines. State and local leaders continue to oppose these moves by the administration, saying they can handle it themselves, and what President Trump is doing infringes on the rights of states to conduct their own business. It's a situation that you'll want to continue to watch as the very principles of federalism become key points in this back and forth. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has an in-depth look at this evolving situation.
As we look at what's been going on in Los Angeles the past few days, my mind keeps going back to what we saw here in Washington in the summer of 2020.
Demonstrators circling the White House complex, some throwing bricks, rocks, and even fireworks.
5 years ago, as the Black Lives Matter movement was taking to the streets in the wake of George Floyd's killing, President Trump asked the governors of 11 states to send National Guard units into D.C.
If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
But months later, at an ABC News town hall in September of 2020, Trump explained why he didn't order the National Guard to put down violent protests in cities like Portland, Oregon.
We have to go by the laws. We can't move in the National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to ever do that, even in a Portland case. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor.
Well, here we are in 2025.
Governor Gavin Newsom formally requesting that the administration rescind the deployment, accusing Trump of encouraging the chaos.
This week, the president has federalized the National Guard in California, despite the objections of Governor Gavin Newsom. Here's what he told our Karen Travers yesterday.
What changed now? Why is this situation different to not consult with Governor Newsom about this?
Well, the biggest change from that statement is we have an incompetent governor. So I talked about governors, but I didn't talk about he's an incompetent governor. Look at the job he's doing in California.
And after he said that, the Pentagon announced that several hundred Marines from 29 Palms, California, would be heading to L.A., all of it in response to the protests against ICE arrests, protests that have grown over the past few days.
And this idea of sending in more military forces, it's prompted concern from all kinds of people, including former Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank. And he tells inside sources that the lack of communication and the overstepping between the National Guard, Marines, LA Police, the LA County Sheriff, and the California Highway Patrol, it's just a recipe for disaster.
And it's one of the things that, as far as interlocal agreements with local law enforcement and fire departments and everything else, the local agency is in charge. You volunteer, right? And Salt Lake City did this throughout the valley for years and years, right? We had more resources. We were very fortunate to have a very large police force. And so when an incident occurred, we'd call and volunteer. What do you need? And those people are now under the command and direction of the location that the event was occurring in. And you volunteer that. I don't see, right, at least from my standpoint, any coordination taking place. You have federal people running around. You have federal troops running around. You now have National Guard running around. And you have local jurisdictions that do not seem to be coordinating mission, purpose, or outcome. Right? One of the most important things is, what is the goal? Is the goal just to arrest everybody? That's unrealistic. So I've yet to hear anyone say this is what our intended goal is or outcome for this event. We're missing so much here. It brings me back to where we started. Disappointing.
Burbank says having the federal agencies come in is negating any work local law enforcement has done.
What it's done is it's bypassed the opportunity to do what's best in policing, right? Local law enforcement, humanity is what our strength is. And when we can look someone in the eye and say, what do you need to accomplish? This is what I need to accomplish. How can we meet common grounds? And it's been demonstrated in Salt Lake City. It's been demonstrated in other parts of the country. And there's a better way to do business. And so what we've done is we've forgotten the good of policing, and you have now imposed a force that has a completely, wholly different mission than local law enforcement.
And just thinking about what the legal aspects of all this are, does the president have the authority to do this? ABC's Stephen Portnoy continues this story, chatting with the national security law expert Rachel Van Landingham about the various legal concerns.
There are a lot of questions about the kind of powers the president is invoking here, so let's turn to Rachel Van Landingham. She's a professor at Southwestern Law School in Los Angeles. She spent more than 2 decades in the Air Force, was a JAG officer, and a chief legal advisor to the CENTCOM commander. We are so glad to have you, Professor. We knew President Trump had federalized the National Guard in your state, but yesterday we heard he was also activating 700 Marines from 29 Palms. As a former legal advisor in the military, what's your reaction to that?
I'm honestly quite alarmed at the use of active duty Marines being sent into one of the largest cities in the United States for what seems like domestic law enforcement. These Marines are trained to fight and win our foreign wars and to protect our country from invasion. They are not appropriately trained and equipped and resourced to engage in any kind of policing function with the U.S. people. And so it's disconcerting to me. It's very alarming for me to see these Marines going in and when they should be getting ready to fight our wars, they're not, and instead are they going to be asked to use force against the American people? Or are they purely in a protective mode? I mean, and what does protection mean, right? Because that's what the National Guard was called up to do and federalized under President Trump over the weekend, ostensibly in a purely protective mode, protecting the federal detention facility and protecting federal agents. But protection means you protect by using force. So, what kind of force are we using? What kind of force are they trained to use? And it seems incredibly inflammatory and really crossing a red line that's never been crossed like this before.
Now, the Pentagon put out a statement yesterday that said that these Marines will seamlessly integrate with the Title X forces. That would be the National Guard forces that had previously been directed by the president to go. And the task force they'll be working with, according to officials, has been trained in de-escalation and crowd control. So does that give you any comfort, Professor?
Well, seamless integration is a pipe dream because you fight like you train. They have never trained to be working with the National Guard in this capacity. This is, again, a completely unprecedented move. So you don't do things seamlessly that you've never done before. Second of all, the National Guard has not been given any kind of law enforcement authority here either. The minute they were federalized, they lost their law enforcement authorities that came from working for the governor. As part of the militia, as part of our citizen soldiers who do have a mission set of helping with civil disturbances and engaging in actual policing on our city streets when ordered to do so by the governor. They don't have that authority anymore. So the only authorities that they have under the president is purely to stand around buildings and protect them and hope that they don't have to use force in that kind of protection, because they do not have the authority to arrest people, to seize people, to engage in search warrants, etc. So it seems just incredibly an awkward fit and something that is being done for a political reason and not out of necessity to keep our city streets safe.
Well, let's talk about the power that the law does give to the president. I mean, what authority does he have when it comes to intervening in the case of a state like California, where the governor is saying, we don't need the military on the streets of Los Angeles County to control the situation? Can the president come in and say, never mind what you think, Gavin Newsom, I'm in charge?
Yes, but it hasn't been done since 1965, and for good reason. President Lyndon Baines Johnson federalized the National Guard in order to, ironically, to protect civil rights protesters as they were marching for civil rights from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. This country has had a long aversion, going back to our founding days and the founding fathers, to using federal troops controlled by the federal government, by the president, domestically against we the people. They're here to fight foreign wars and to keep us safe from invasion. The police and states, out of federalism, states are responsible through law enforcement capabilities and primarily their police forces to keep our cities safe. Now we have a government that says, I don't need you to federalize. I have my own National Guard troops. I can use them if necessary. I don't think it's necessary yet. Back off. But interestingly, not only did the president ignore Governor Newsom and federalize these National Guard troops anyway, the president never invoked the Insurrection Act. So that's why this is very unprecedented.
Okay, hold that point on the Insurrection Act, because I do want to get back to it. But first, I want to ask you about the Attorney General of your state, who said yesterday that he was filing a lawsuit, essentially saying that the president has run roughshod over the federal law that he's invoked. Can you walk us through the argument that the Attorney General is making here, and what do you make of it?
I think contextually he's overstepped. Legally, I don't think he's overstepped. I mean, I actually disagree with the Attorney General here, and this is why. The federal statute that President Trump invoked, 10 U.S.C. Section 12406, allows the president to federalize, that is, put under his command and control, National Guard members either to repel invasion, to deal with a rebellion or potential rebellion, or to assist in executing federal law. So the president's memo said he was resting on the second basis, that he was concerned that there's a rebellion or potential rebellion. The statute gives the president broad discretion to decide when that's necessary. It doesn't give any kind of criteria, and courts are typically going to be quite deferential, at least the Supreme Court, to the commander-in-chief's exercise of statutory authority to determine when and how the National Guard needs to be deployed.
And when it comes to this whole situation in Los Angeles, especially in regards to the First Amendment, former Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank tells Inside Sources he's disappointed with the responses on both sides of the issue.
This is just disappointing, is really what it is, because what has happened is we have egos involved in this. We have lines in the sand being drawn, and we have people forming opinions, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, to protest and how you protest and what you protest. The beauty of the Constitution says that we can protest anything we want to, and there should be an avenue to do it peacefully. And the point of policing is to facilitate your First Amendment rights. And we trampled all over that as soon as this started.
Now, we'll continue to monitor this situation in Los Angeles and bring you the latest updates here on air and online at kslnewsradio.com. And we're following some breaking news here at KSL. Multiple streets in Park City are closed right now as emergency crews work to repair a gas leak. Officials say the leak is near Main Street and 4th Street. And right now, Main Street, Park Avenue, and Swede Alley are all closed to traffic, and officials are asking people to avoid that area. We'll continue to track this here on KSL News Radio. And Republican objections to President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, the latest on those developments in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
A small accident northbound Bangor Highway, not far from California Avenue, but out of traffic on the shoulder and slowing southbound I-15 going from Kaysville into Farmington. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm Holly Richardson.
My name is Greg Skordas. Listen for the new Inside Sources.
One of the things that people don't realize about Utah politics, at the state legislative level, there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of working together for the good of Utah. Inside Sources, weekdays from 9 to noon.
This is a show that a person could listen and learn something every day and say, you know what, I didn't know that this morning at 9, but I know it now. Inside Sources.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When was the last time your vacation was living the art of adventure? Discover it in Cedar City, Utah. Towering red rocks, epic trails, summer events, and world-class drama at the Tony Award-winning Utah Shakespeare Festival starting June 17th with Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, and more. Marvel at nature's masterpieces with just a short drive to Zion, Bryce Canyon, Cedar Breaks, and Kolob Canyons. Discover Utah's earliest artists at the Parowan Gap Petroglyph site. Head up to Bryan Head for chairlift rides that deliver endless high-elevation views. Wildflower Meadows, topped off with ATV and downhill biking trails. Be starstruck by the skies at Cedar Breaks National Monument. Browse Cedar City's unique shops and indulge in savory bites. Come experience the art of adventure around every turn in Cedar City. Start planning your vacation right now at visitcedarcity.com.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Summer is right around the corner.
Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings, stunning results, only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson in for Maria Shilaos. The One Big Beautiful Bill continues to move through the U.S. Senate today, and Republican senators are still pushing for changes to the bill. Cami Mondu covers the Hill for Deseret News. She spoke to Inside Sources this morning about the ongoing discussions.
So you're seeing kind of two different factions in Senate Republicans that are holding up this bill. Some who want deeper spending cuts. They want to see more in, the Medicaid cuts. They want to see some of the deals that were worked out in the House to be repealed. On the other hand, you have another faction of Senate Republicans who want to, kind of go through things item by item to make sure that not everything in Medicaid is cut. They want to preserve some of these green energy tax credits. So you kind of have these competing factions, while you also have conservatives in the House who are putting the pressure on.
And one thing lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are voicing concerns about is a provision in the bill dealing with the regulation of artificial intelligence. The bill proposes a 10-year moratorium on state-level regulation of AI, and that's concerning state lawmakers here in Utah. State Representative Doug Fiafia tells Inside Sources why he's opposed to this part of the bill.
We have Utah legislators, both Republicans, Democrats, both senators, and House members really united in opposing this 10-year AI moratorium. We've sent this letter to Congress to remove this provision from this bill, and the reason being is this moratorium would limit state rights. As you said, Holly, earlier, states are laboratories for innovation when it comes to policy, and so let's let that process work. Just because we want to move fast doesn't mean we can't do so without a seatbelt. And so we are standing up for our state's rights as a state legislature and making sure that we, as technology moves forward, that we can be nimble enough and adjust as needed to make sure that we're protecting Utahns and consumers and users.
Representative Fiafia says forcing everyone to follow these federal regulations and not allowing states to do it will stifle innovation, and he's worried this will cause the U.S. to fall even further behind China.
I think the excuse, and I say excuse intentionally, is that we are in an arms race with China, and we need to make sure that we win this race. And I think that's valid, but I also think that we can build out frameworks and not put in these types of freezes. These types of moratoriums are used more so in the case of emergencies, and we aren't in an emergency. I think there is an ability for us to work through AI and see the advances and follow Utah's lead, really. We've not only built an AI policy office, an AI innovation lab, but also we've built out an actual framework that we are using as legislators and as state leaders to balance out innovation versus also protection of consumers.
And that was State Representative Doug Fiafia talking about why he's opposed to an AI regulation in the One Big Beautiful Bill. And you can hear conversations just like this every weekday from 9 a.m. to noon on the new Inside Sources right here on KSL News Radio. It's 1:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Britt Johnson in for Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we're watching this hour: wildfire risk maps, aiming to make insurance rates more fair for Utah homeowners. One of Utah's representatives speaking about changes to the CDC, and KSL traffic. Ricky?
We do have an accident in Box Elder County, northbound I-15 in the Willard Bay area, but it's out of traffic on the left shoulder. Britt?
KSL's top local stories in just 1 minute, but first we have the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The Army is celebrating its 250th anniversary. President Trump in North Carolina to deliver remarks at Fort Bragg. ABC's Mary Bruce has details.
This is part of his efforts this week to honor and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Army. But it certainly is an interesting juxtaposition coming just as the president is also sending armed forces in to quell civilian protests on American soil.
The additional National Guard troops and Marines set to arrive in Los Angeles today due to protests over immigration raids. It comes as local law enforcement, LA's mayor, and California's governor say the presence of federal troops is not needed or helping with demonstrations. In London, high-level talks continued between the U.S. and China for a second day as the countries try to carve out a trade deal. The World Bank out with its forecast saying President Trump's tariffs could slow economic growth later this year in the U.S. and around the globe. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story: harmful algal blooms are starting to pop up in some of Utah's reservoirs and streams. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
The harmful algal blooms, which can make both humans and pets very sick if you're exposed to them, have already been spotted around Zion National Park and in one area of Utah Lake. A Utah Division of Water Quality environmental scientist tells me some areas of the state might not see them form until as late as this fall. But between now and then, if you do see algae, it's best to just steer clear of it because it's hard to be sure if it's toxic or not.
Experts say toxic algae tends to be blue-green in color, as though someone spilled paint on the top of the water. UDOT maintains about 200 weather stations across the state to keep drivers safe on our roads, and it's time to make sure they're all still working. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly reports.
Utah's roads are greatly affected by the weather: snow, rain and floods, and heat. UDOT spokesman John Gleason says the weather stations help them pinpoint where their resources are needed.
We're going out there twice a year to make sure everything's functioning properly and that we're getting all of the information that we need from these sensors.
Gleason says having correct data saves taxpayers millions of dollars each year. A survey from 5 years ago estimated the state saved $2.2 million. Gleason says it's probably much more in today's dollars. He says UDOT's goal is to keep people safe, so maintenance costs of the weather stations is worth it. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
A Lehi subdivision is being told to limit how often they water their lawns. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
There's a new pressurized irrigation reservoir that's being built on Traverse Mountain that supplies secondary water to the Violetto neighborhood. The problem is, it was supposed to be finished in April. It's not done yet. That means people right now are using culinary water for their lawns. The city says that's not sustainable long term, and people in that neighborhood are being told to only water their lawns 2 days a week and not to put in sod.
The city hopes to have the irrigation reservoir up and running by July 1st. Some Ogden Valley residents are ready for their new city to break away. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
It doesn't have a name yet, but almost 40 people are already looking forward to having their own local government. Applications for mayor and city council seats poured in this last week for just 6 positions. The city, currently called Ogden Valley City, is located on the eastern side of the Wasatch Mountains, covering the area around Eden and Pineview Reservoir, and is home to around 7,600 people.
Voting starts this August, and the winners get to help pick the city's name. Your money at this moment, things are in the green. The Dow up 76 points. The S&P has gained 27 points. That's almost 0.5%. The NASDAQ has gained 112 points, and that's a little over 0.5%. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Crews are really busy this afternoon in Summit County. Main Street is closed at 4th Street due to a gas leak, so avoid that area completely. In the Valley, northbound State Street, right lanes are blocked due to emergency road repair. And a KSL listener giving us a heads up about a road blocked by Valley Fair Mall, 3500 South, 2700 West. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialist. Whipple that away. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's heating up out there. We have officially hit that 90-degree mark. It's actually 91 now here in Salt Lake City at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Want to get away this summer but worried about the expense? KSL's Cost of Utah reports are here to help. Wednesday at 10.
We're not going to just stop going on vacation because there's unsurety.
Put down those credit cards and listen up. Daniel Woodruff shows you how to take a break without busting your budget. From sweet staycations.
We like to just explore around the area where we live.
To thrifty airline agendas.
You can save yourself a lot of money on flights.
Cost of Utah. Frugal family fun. Wednesday at 10 on KSL.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
It's springtime in the Rockies, and it's time to apply Revive Organic Soil Treatment. A Revive treatment with fertilization, aeration, and good watering is the key to building stronger roots for a healthy, lush green lawn. Revive fertilizes and moves water and nutrients deeper into the soil. Take advantage of spring storms with an application of Revive now. Protect yourself from drought later this summer and skyrocketing water costs. With Revive, if you water 2 times a week, it's like watering 4. Apply Revive Organic Soil Treatment today. It works.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson, filling in for Maria Shilaos. Insurance companies can raise your home insurance rates if they deem that the house is in a wildfire zone. But a new law passed earlier this year aims at making the process a little more fair. It takes effect in January and would require the state forester to produce universal wildfire risk maps to help make things just a little more even here in Utah. KSL News Radio's Michelle Rowe wanted to know why that's important. So she asked Utah Insurance Commissioner John Pike.
You know, they basically have their own models for how they rate and, you know, what they're going to charge, in other words, for insurance policies. And one of the things that you referred to was, you know, wildfire mapping. And so there are a number of different maps out there. Some insurance companies might use their own maps. Some might contract with other firms to use their maps and models, or they may not use maps at all. They may do it other ways. They may even, if they're a smaller insurance company, or they might even go and just look at the property. You know, so there's different models, there's different methods, but mapping is one of the tools used by insurance companies to determine, you know, what the level of risk is for that particular area, that particular property. When it comes right down to it, that, you know, specific property that they're considering insuring or continuing to insure. So because there are multiple maps, they're going to be different. And one of the things that was contemplated and passed in the legislature this year was House Bill 48, sponsored by Representative Casey Snyder. That bill was passed and signed by the governor. And one of the things it does, probably the feature element of that legislation, is it requires the Utah State Forester to produce wildfire risk maps that define kind of the most high-risk areas. And those are commonly referred to as the wildland-urban interface areas. So shortened, the acronym is WUI, Wildland-Urban Interface. So typically that's where, basically more heavily forested or if not forested, just, kind of at risk, high risk for brush or whatever the fuel source may be, areas where they kind of are abut residential areas or other, buildings and so forth. And so those wildland urban interface or WUI areas, that's where it's kind of the highest risk, and that's what these maps are designed to define. So insurance companies then, based on this new law, next year, so starting in January, are required to utilize those maps, the ones produced by and shared publicly by the Utah State Forester. They've got to use those maps to define those highest risk wildland urban interface areas.
And Pike says it levels the playing field between insurance companies for homeowners in high-risk areas.
I view that as a good thing because it will bring some commonality, some to the most risky areas, if you will, for wildfire. Instead of saying, having one model or one map say this is high risk and another one saying this area is not high risk. So I think that's the good news. It still allows insurance companies to do, their other the other elements of their models to basically determine, whether they're going to insure a property, and if so, how much it will be. So there are other elements, there are other tools in their tool belt, if you will. And so that's still out there and available to them. Those maps are still being worked on. My understanding is that the Utah State Forester is hoping to have those available for the public and to insurance companies by the fall.
But that's just one piece of the puzzle. When it comes to homeowners facing big price increases, he says there are several things you can do to reduce those costs, starting with clearing brushes and trees.
Then those are things that insurance companies look at and see as potential risks. And so sometimes if they're taking a close look, and they're doing that more lately, they might say, there's some risk there. We're either going to charge you more to insure your home, or we might even decide not to insure you. If you're a potential new customer, they may just decline to write your insurance, or they may not renew your insurance if you're a current customer. So they can do that. That's up to them. But you can, and what I would encourage people to do is, if those things happen, any of those things, ask the insurance company or your insurance agent, ask them why and what could you do to change that. And typically they will tell you, and they will say, whatever. They might say, well, you need to trim those trees or create what is called in the industry a more defensible space immediately around your building, your home or your building, things like that. Sometimes it also gets into, what your home is built with. Like, do you have wood shake shingles? Those are much more, flammable, if you will, than say a metal roof or a tile roof, or even asphalt shingles. So building materials come into play, especially in those highest risk areas.
That's Utah Insurance Commissioner John Pike. He says if you still have a hard time getting the coverage you've paid for, you can contact his office. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
It's back, and you will be too. June 12th through the 14th at the Cache County Fairgrounds, it's the Summerfest Arts Fair, celebrating its 41st anniversary, featuring local and regional artists and musicians. You're going to love this, like you loved it before. Art, painting, ceramics, music, food. Summerfest Arts Fair is loaded with all the things that you and the family love the most. Then get set for an amazing lineup of musicians, featuring headliners the Lonely Hearts Club Band, The Last Wild Buffalo, and Music City Groove. Plus, enjoy other regional musicians like the Highline Drifters and Fry Pan Band. This is where local, regional, and national artists come together to celebrate the arts. So discover 165 artist booths, 38 performing groups, and 30 food vendors, along with a plein air art competition. Get the full details at logansummerfest.org. logansummerfest.org. Summerfest Arts Fair, June 12th through the 14th at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is removing all 17 members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee. He plans to replace them with his own appointments. All of the members were appointed by the Biden administration. News Nation's Brooke Schaefer reports.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer called this clean sweep of the CDC committee reckless, radical, and rooted in conspiracy, not science. It's not just Democrats commenting on these removals. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, who's also a physician, had major reservations ahead of confirming Kennedy as HHS secretary, citing Kennedy's past comments on vaccines. The senator, who eventually voted to confirm RFK Jr., was apparently guaranteed by Kennedy himself that he wouldn't mess with this committee, ACIP. So reacting to Kennedy's switch up on X, Cassidy wrote, "Of course, now the fear is that ACIP will be filled up with people who know nothing about vaccines except suspicion." He wrote, "I've just spoken with Secretary Kennedy, and I'll continue to talk with him to ensure this is not the case." Other outlets this morning reporting that Secretary Kennedy promised the senator he's, quote, changing the process, not the committee itself.
Now, Kennedy hasn't said who he has in mind to replace the committee, but they'll meet later this month in Atlanta. He says the move is necessary to restore public trust, accusing the board of conflicts of interest. Representative Mike Kennedy, no relation to RFK, spoke to Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on Inside Sources about this development. He says he's keeping a close eye on RFK's changes to the Vaccine Advisory Committee.
I've never seen anything like this. I'm sure you haven't either. And it is one of those things to ask the question, who are these people? What length of term have they served? I have found out that most of these people were appointed in 2024 under President Biden. And the reality, Holly, that we need to think about is vaccine skepticism is present much longer than just the firing of these individuals. There are a lot of people through COVID that watched vaccines promulgated and pushed on society without any evidence. For example, and Holly, I know you're a midwife, is pregnant ladies, it was certified safe for pregnant ladies and their babies before 9 months had even elapsed as to the vaccines being released for COVID-19 vaccines. So the reality is the pharmaceutical industry needs to come to task with their COVID approach. And as to these individuals, they do serve at the behest of the president. And if the president wants to get new people in, let's just make sure they're highly qualified and capable individuals.
Representative Kennedy says this committee shouldn't be political. It should be scientific.
Well, we want a non-ideologically based, we want a scientifically based committee that actually does the job. And if there are, as Secretary Kennedy asserts, some people that are connected to the industry and actually making money off of vaccines that they are actually recommending, then we ought to be, as a society, very careful about that. I want neutral parties that are deeply invested in good science, and that they should not just be pushing forward a political ideology, particularly in this area.
Representative Kennedy represents Utah's 3rd congressional district. He has a background in working as a medical doctor. Social media has become the place to find new music and rediscover old music, too. I'll tell you about a 60-year-old song that's becoming popular once again. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We do have a new accident. This is in Midvale. This is a crash at the bottom of the on-ramp at 7200 South to join northbound I-15. As you're coming around that curve at the bottom of the ramp, you'll see all the vehicles over to the right shoulder. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
For years, I tortured myself with different diet programs, going on and off diets. You know, that yo-yo dieting. That is until I found Salt Lake City Fat Loss. If you want to lose weight fast, and who doesn't, this is the program for you because it burns that stored fat so quickly. It's just a simple combination of foods that help you burn that stored fat. So there are no medications, no surgeries, nothing where you're going to suffer any sort of side effects. I've lost more than 40 pounds with this great plan, 25 pounds of it in the first 60 days. Many people lose up to a pound per day. They also have a terrific app. This app keeps you accountable and it gives you daily inspiration and great ideas to keep you on track. Isn't it time for you to end that yo-yo dieting? Find out how you can save $200 now by going to slcfatloss.com or call 801-450-1882. slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness, and Utah isn't immune.
With nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or some other form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. KSL has teamed with 988 Utah, the free suicide and crisis lifeline, to bring you hope and help you thrive.
If you or a loved one is experiencing a mental health crisis, call or text 988.
Because a healthy mind matters.
Behold, 'tis I, Queen Trustworth, sentinel for seniors amongst the Knights of Scamelot, here to give thee warning. Scams and fraud are on the rise in Utah, and seniors are especially under siege. Be wary of unsolicited texts, phone calls, and salespeople asking for personal or financial information, and never send money to someone thou hast only met online. If thou hast doubts, talk to someone thou trusteth and get educated at scams.utah.gov.
Dive into 2025's best family fun at the Ute Stampede Rodeo with Extreme Bulls. The Ute Stampede is Utah's best family entertainment, honoring the rich heritage and the spirit of the West. 3 nights of PRCA rodeo, flying U rodeo, live music, food carnivals, and plenty of rodeo showmanship. Experience gold medal competition topped off with huge prize money. Witness epic battles of man versus beast. Wednesday, July 9th with Extreme Bulls. Special package pricing available. Visit utestampederodeo.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. It's not too uncommon for your kids to suddenly start playing what they call oldies, only to have it be music from your teenage years, and that can be a little bit cringy, right? Songs seem to cycle through every decade or two, but ABC's Andrea Dresdell says TikTok is helping even older songs make a comeback. Stephen Portnoy has a story of one 60-year-old song that's resurfacing with quite a punch of popularity.
There's a whole thing in the audio and recording industries about how people first hear new songs. It drives a multi-billion-dollar business. Of course, back in the day, you just put on your favorite station. And radio is still a leading source for new music discovery, as it's called. The streaming services are too. But what about old music discovery?
You can ask the flowers. I sit for hours telling all the
bluebirds, the bill and coo birds, pretty little baby, I'm so in love with you.
This song, recorded in 1962, is called Pretty Little Baby, and it's suddenly trending on TikTok.
People like to show off videos of their babies and their kids and their pets. Even Kim Kardashian and her daughter Northwest got in on the act.
That's Andrea Dresdale, who covers the music scene for ABC. She's describing the viral resurgence of a record by the legendary Connie Francis. It's now been featured in millions of TikTok videos that have collectively received over 27 billion views. Here's one example: TikTok user Kevin Cooney changing his baby's diaper.
Poopy little baby, my little poopy.
Now, what's really interesting here is the song was not a hit in 1962. In fact, most people back then probably didn't even know about it.
It was what they called a B-side of a single back in the day. So like a 7-inch vinyl, it has an A-side and a B-side. They would put the hit song on the A-side, and then on the B-side, they would just kind of stick whatever other songs they had lying around.
Now, to be clear, in her day, Connie Francis was a superstar. In fact, she was the first woman to hit #1 on Billboard's Hot 100. She sang Who's Sorry Now and had this enduring number.
And the really incredible thing about this whole situation is that now Connie Francis, who is 87 years old, has joined TikTok herself.
Andrea was able to ask Francis how she feels about her newfound popularity.
When Ron Roberts from England called me and said, your song went viral, I said, what's that? I thought like there was a virus in the computer or something like that. And he says, no, it's important, Connie.
Pretty little baby, I'm so in love with you.
She told ABC she didn't even remember making the song.
I recorded a lot of songs, but because I wanted to, I had a contract that I could record whatever I wanted. And I recorded so many songs that I don't even remember Pretty Little Baby. I had to listen to it to familiarize myself with it.
Poopy little baby, oh, I just changed the...
Connie Francis says more than anything,
I'd love to be able to find out who first put it on TikTok, to have the foresight to do that.
All right, joining me in studio right now is Midday executive producer Andy Cupp. Andy, you said you've been hearing this all over.
Everywhere. Absolutely everywhere over TikTok. And you looked it up on Instagram because you're not on TikTok.
Yeah, and
you found it there too.
And I was like, oh, yes, I've seen it on Reels.
Yeah, no, it's everywhere. And it's so funny because, like she said, it wasn't a popular song when it first came out. 60 years later, suddenly it's a popular song, and I see it probably too frequently, in my personal opinion, where I'm kind of a little over the song. But the story behind it is still really kind of fun.
Well, and we saw something similar a few years ago with that Kate Bush song on Stranger Things.
Yes.
Where I had never, and I'm an 80s music connoisseur, sort of, and I had never heard that song. And then it was all over the place, running up that road,
Yeah. No, and I think that's such a kind of cool thing with social media. I mean, like I said, I'm tired of the song. I'm ready for a new one. But, I mean, she was saying there, Andrea, was that it wasn't even on the A side, it was on the B side. And nowadays, you think of how many songs are on an album that an artist makes, and how many of them actually end up playing on the radio. You know, they have a few singles in there. But to think about the broad number of songs that are still coming out today, but then also came out so long ago. And I think it's just kind of this cool thing of rediscovering and pumping up these artists that have no idea what this is, but I mean, it's a fun thing for them anyway.
Totally. Well, and I think Kate Bush made like $1 million after Stranger Things came out because of that resurgence of that song. And I was laughing because my daughter was doing a TikTok dance with her friends to Da Dip. Do you guys know Da Dip? When I dip, you dip, we dip. And I was saying that came out when I think I was in 5th grade. And it's fun, it's cringy, I don't know, it's interesting, the whole cycle.
Yeah, and I think it's just a great way to almost kind of connect the generations as well. Because, you and I grew up before digital downloads were a thing. And if you didn't have access to the CD, you probably were never going to hear a song. Or if, your parents listen to one particular music station on the radio, you're probably never going to hear anything else. And there's just so much access now to music, whether it's on streaming or the radio station, so many different kinds of radio stations, or on TikTok. You can find anything.
It's so fun. Well, Andy, thanks for coming to chat with me for this last little bit of our 1 o'clock hour of Middays. And stay tuned, because we're about ready to head into the 2 o'clock hour.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
There were several bomb threats in Provo today.
Here in Provo, we've had 3 so far. I'm not going to discount that there couldn't be more. My understanding is in Midvale and West Valley, they've also received similar threats today.
The time is 2 o'clock on Tuesday, June 10th. It's midday. I'm Britt Johnson in for Maria Shilaos. Coming up, a live update from the scene in just a moment. Also this hour,
I've been through all the cancer treatments between my husband and I, every kind. And this was by far the easiest one.
How a new kind of treatment is making things more comfortable for cancer patients. But first, our top stories. Multiple streets in Park City are closed as emergency crews work to repair a gas leak. Officials say this is near Main Street and 4th Street. They say Main Street, Park Avenue, and Swede Alley are all closed to traffic and are asking people to avoid that area. Our top national story from ABC News. Monday night was calmer in Los Angeles than Sunday night, but dozens of people are still arrested. ABC's Alex Stone has the numbers.
According to the LAPD, on Monday night, they were able to make more arrests. 96 people were arrested for failure to disperse when an order was given. Also, there was an arrest for assault with a deadly weapon, one for resisting arrest, and one for vandalism. 14 people were arrested for looting, and 2 LAPD officers were injured in the violence that unfolded on Monday night.
The police presence in Los Angeles has increased as more National Guard and Marines arrive. President Trump says he plans to dismantle the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, after this year's hurricane season. In the Oval Office, the president says money will be directly allocated to states through either him or the Department of Homeland Security.
We're going to give out less money. We're going to give it out directly. It'll be from the president's office. We'll have somebody here. Could be Homeland Security.
The Trump administration denied extra funding for cleanup after Hurricane Helene. Governor Josh Stein says it's a decision that will cost his state hundreds of millions of dollars. Other national stories KSL is following. Officials in Austria say at least 9 people were killed and a dozen more injured after a school shooting in the city of Graz.
More than 300 police officers responded to the shooting. They were able to secure the scene within 17 minutes. We're also getting new details about the shooter himself. Police say he was a 21-year-old Austrian citizen, a former student of the school who never graduated. And they believe he acted alone, though they're still investigating the motive behind the shooting. Now, the governor of the region today in a press conference said it is a day of sorrow and processing the dramatic incident, and they have declared 3 days of national mourning.
That was ABC's Maggie Ruley reporting. Your money at this moment, things are still in the green. The Dow up 105 points. That's 0.25%. The S&P gaining 32 points, and the NASDAQ gaining 123 points. That's more than 0.5%. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
The crash has been cleared in Midvale at the bottom of the on-ramp to northbound I-15 from 7200 south. But we do have slowdowns on southbound I-15. The usual with the construction going from Kaysville to Farmington. And then again as you're approaching 1300 south from downtown. A huge spike in your water bill? You might have a leak in your culinary or secondary water line. Utah Utility Pro repairs stop and waste and pressure release valves. Visit UtahUtilityPro.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's heating up out there. A high of 94 today. Tomorrow is when you'll really feel the heat. The high is 96. Right now, we've hit 91 here in Salt Lake City from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Imagine waking up every morning with a smile you're proud of. No more hiding, no more pain. Stubbs Dental Implant Center, Utah's Best of State winner for 3 years in a row, has helped thousands of people ditch the dentures and say goodbye to missing or broken teeth. Their expert team specializes in giving you a permanent, natural-looking smile with dental implants that feel and function just like real teeth. With over 2,000 five-star Google reviews, their patients say it best.
Dental implants gave me my life back. I feel confident again. I feel like I can be myself.
There was no way I was getting dentures. Getting dental implants from Stubbs Dental has been the best decision of my life.
Let the expert team at Stubbs Dental help you take the first step to changing your life with dental implants. Schedule your complimentary consultation today, a $350 value, absolutely free. Visit StubbsDental.com today. That's StubbsDental.com. StubbsDental.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We're learning more about a series of threats that shut down government buildings in downtown Provo today. Police say it started with a bomb threat, but quickly turned into something much more serious, resulting in evacuations. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is live outside the historic courthouse and joins us with the latest. Eric, what are things looking like right now?
Britt, here on Center Street in Provo, where things are really just back to normal. But like you said earlier this morning, it was a very different scene. Police say someone called the Utah County government building claiming there was a bomb inside, and then added that if it didn't go off within a certain amount of time, they'd return and start shooting. Here's Provo Police Lieutenant Chet Whatcott describing what happened.
We got a call of a bomb threat here at the Utah County facility. The caller who took it felt that it was a credible threat. They evacuated the building, and we came in and secured everything as best we could, had our bomb squad come in based upon what was given in the threat and deal with that information. And we found that as we were closing out this side, there were other calls that came in similar to this that caused us to have to react to there as well. We found that they were all incredible, and that whoever was calling in was doing this to get a reaction from us. The other threats were at the Provo Library and a credit union here in town. The information given to us turned out to be factually inaccurate. We've been trying to track the numbers. We've been trying to follow up on any leads that have been given to us. Right now, the information is that they're spoofed numbers, which makes them all hard to track.
Lieutenant Wilcott says they're working with federal partners, including the FBI, to use more advanced tools and resources to try and track down whoever was behind this. He says even if the calls were fake, the fear and disruption they caused were very real, and investigators are taking this seriously. Reporting live in Provo, Eric Herrera, KSL News Radio.
Thanks, Eric. And we'll continue to track the investigation and bring you any updates here on KSL News Radio and at kslnewsradio.com. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Midday in just 60 seconds.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Summer is right around the corner. Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings, stunning results, only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
It's hot, 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 and it's only getting hotter. And technically, we haven't even reached the first day of summer yet. But it's not stopping people from using more and more water. Water conservation officials around the Wasatch Front say we're not off to a great start with water this year. We're using more water than normal for this time of year, and since it's so early in the season, that's causing even more of a concern. Stephanie Dewar is the conservation manager for the Salt Lake City Department of Public Utilities. She joins me now to talk about water. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, you're so well. Thank you for having us. We're very happy to chat with you and our community about water.
And can you walk us through this latest data that you found?
So we look at water use every single day, Britt. When our water treatment plants produce water, that water is measured. And when water goes through meters, that water is measured. And these are things we look at all the time. But what we've noticed is since early April, we've seen an upward trend in water use compared to the previous 3-year average. So every year when we look at water every day, we compare that water use to a 3-year average. So right now I'm looking at a 22, 23, 24-year average. And our water use has been consistently higher than that average. And we're really using water right now like it's July. And we shouldn't do that.
And so is that worrisome about kind of the forecast for the rest of the summer of how much water is going to be actually used?
Yeah, one of two things could happen. Either water use now plateaus, so we don't use on a daily basis. We've hit our peak demand, and we use this amount every day for the remainder of the summer. That wouldn't be horrible. It would still be a little high, but it wouldn't be the worst thing. What is most concerning is if the percentage of water use above the average carries over as we move into summer months, then we would be seeing a significant increase in water usage. So we just want to get the message out to folks. Even though it's hot right now, nighttime temperatures are still very low, and your landscape doesn't need water like it's July.
And are there indicators as to why water usage is up?
Well, we haven't done a survey, but we listen to our community. We talk with folks, and we hear conversation in the media and in social media. And we think it's a couple of things. One is we had some decent snow events, and what I think we kept hearing in the media was that we were having some average snowfall events. But I think the nuance that may not be fully conveyed in a short story would be that when someone says we have average snowpack, that's for that moment in time. That's not for the whole season. So if we're only at 30% of the winter season and we're at average, that doesn't mean we have more than that. It just means, well, given that it's January 15th, this is what we would expect for snow. And the problem with our snow events is they can sometimes come and go. We don't always have consistent snow in the winter months, especially in recent years. So I think it looked like we had a lot of snow and water, and that might have been a bit misleading. And then it got hot very fast, and people are concerned about their landscapes. They want to support that asset and resource that they have, and that's completely understandable. And so I think people respond to how they feel about the weather, and they water their landscape thinking that their landscape is also hot and dry. But our nighttime temperatures are still very low. They're in the 50s and 60s. And so the landscape doesn't need as much water as you might think.
And speaking from personal experience, I feel like there's a little bit of peer pressure. Everyone on the street's lawn looks so nice and green, but I want to be a good person and save water, but then I don't want my yard to look shabby. Do you think that a lot of Utahns can relate to that?
Probably, maybe, but what I would mention is that there's a lot of space between bright green and shabby, right? You can have a really healthy lawn. For instance, you could have a Kentucky bluegrass lawn and only be watering twice a week right now if you're along the Wasatch Front, and probably have it look pretty decent. You could have a lower grass lawn that looks great and only be watering it once a week. You could have a warm season grass and only water once a month, and it would be gorgeous. So it's also, I think we get kind of hung up on perfection in so many things, and it's okay to not have a perfect lawn. Like it doesn't have to be perfectly green. And in fact, maybe what we should be embracing in our neighbors and in ourselves is the notion that the badge of honor is having a slightly less than perfect lawn.
Okay. I wonder how many yard work dads are going to have a feel about that. But what are some...
They may have to get over that, though.
Right,
I mean,
this
isn't just a question of aesthetics. This is our water supply. I read something recently on another water utilities website, and it's really stuck with me. And it was a phrase they used, and it was, water is not just a resource, it's a responsibility. And I think we have a responsibility to ourselves and to each other, to our community, to generations growing up, to be mindful and thoughtful about how we use this precious and limited resource. And even if we had a decent snowfall, we don't know when the next snowfall comes. We don't know when the next rain event comes. So the water that's in the reservoirs, we need to hold that for when we really need it. And we need to be mindful all the time about how we use water because we need to be responsible.
Definitely. I think those are great thoughts. I've been talking to Stephanie Dewar. She's the conservation manager for the Salt Lake City Department of Public Utilities. Thanks for joining Midday. A new cancer treatment making things more comfortable for patients in Utah. That story in just a moment. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We do have Main Street in Park City closed at 4th Street due to a gas leak. That and some of the surrounding streets and officers and crews are asking that you avoid the area and slow down southbound I-15 in Davis County due to roadwork Kaysville to Farmington. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The kind of inside scoop you only get from KSL. Editor of Utah Policy, Holly Richardson, a.k.a. Holly on the Hill, and KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. Greg and Holly make up the new Inside Sources, 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Are you looking for the perfect downtown lunch spot? The Garden Restaurant is opening on June 30th in Salt Lake City. Enjoy a reimagined space and a fresh, healthy menu featuring handcrafted sandwiches, rich soups, unique salads, and their famous homemade pot pies. You'll see and taste the difference in every menu item. The garden is perfect for lunch meetings, taking a break while out shopping, or a spring stroll downtown. Visit the reimagined space with remarkable taste. Grab and go or stay and dine in using a new online ordering option. Find entry from the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, open Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. Fresh Flavors' iconic location. The Garden Restaurant is opening June 30th. Hope to see you there. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. thegardenslc.com.
Your electric bill is going to be higher for summer, but not if you get new windows from Advanced Window Products. State-of-the-art double-pane windows and insulated frames, any style, any color, from a company that's been building them right here in Salt Lake City for 39 years. Not only are you buying local, but you're cutting out the middleman because they're the factory. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows, and you get a lifetime guarantee from a trusted local company. If there's a problem 5 years from now, they come right over and get things straight. And right now, you can save even more. If you call Advanced Windows for a quote, they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Advanced Windows offers buy now, pay later. They have 60-month 0% financing. They always work out affordable payments, plus $2,500 off. So get your new windows for summer. Make the call now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or you can go to advancedwindows.com.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are two very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos is off today. Doctors at Holy Cross Hospital, Ogden Valley, are trying a new way to combat brain tumors, and it's showing some real promise. KSL TV's Shelby Lofton spoke exclusively with Vicki Pence, who has something called gamma tiles in her brain after her breast cancer spread to her head.
2 ping-pong-sized brain tumors. One was right above my eye, and the other one was back here, right by my, I forget what it's called because I'm not a doctor, but it was right by the movement center for the right side of my body. And I literally couldn't even write my name on a piece of paper. And I would get so frustrated. And I didn't even realize that it was because I thought it was I had lymphedema. Sorry, I had to look at her to get that word. Lymphedema, because I had lymph nodes removed. And I was doing physical therapy for that at the time too. And it wasn't helping. Nothing was getting better. And then when I found out that I had the brain tumors, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Now what do we do about it?
And Pence knows what it's like to be both the patient and the loved one at the patient's side.
My husband went through, he had metastatic melanoma. He was diagnosed just a couple of years before I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And the worst part of the whole thing was watching him die while I had to live. It was awful. And like I said earlier, if I would have known this treatment was available for the spine surgery back when he was going through it, maybe it would have given him a little longer too.
She said that was its own kind of torture.
And I always tell people when I was doing my treatments, I've been in both chairs, and being in the chair next to the person that's dying is 1,000,000 times worse than the treatment, and the treatment is bad. I mean, chemo is not fun. There is no part of it that's enjoyable whatsoever. It's awful on your body. It basically kills you slower than it kills the cancer.
And that's why she was intrigued when she heard about the gamma tiles as an alternative treatment for her brain tumors.
Dr. Rogers, I'd heard him talk about them before, and then it was a different doctor, my surgeon, who came in and said something about it, and I'm like, yep, I'm going to do that because I need some hope.
And she was willing to do daily hospital visits if that's what it took to fight back, but this way sounded like a better option.
I just have to come in once a month, and I just heard my MRI was clear, so yay! That means 6 months now since I've had the gamma tiles put in.
Gamma tiles are tiny, about the size of a postage stamp, and they work by sending targeted radiation where it's needed and much faster than traditional radiation can do it. Pence's doctor says the tiles start delivering radiation where they're placed right away. And with traditional radiation, there's a waiting time before you can start, and sometimes tumors grow while you're waiting to start. Eventually, the tiles absorb the radiation once it's done its job. Right now, Holy Cross's Ogden Valley Hospital is the only cancer center in Utah using these gamma tiles. Pence says the facility made going through cancer treatment actually bearable.
I looked forward to seeing them as opposed to being like, oh crap, I gotta go see Julie again.
And Pence says the ease of her recovery has also been very different this time around.
Honestly, it's been the easy. I've been through all the cancer treatments between my husband and I, every kind. And this was by far the easiest one for any of it. I mean, basically it took doctors putting something in me, well, taking something out and putting something in, and that was it. It's been a journey, that's for certain. It's been a fight. I say it's not just the fight for my life, or not just the fight of my life, but it's been the fight for my life. And that's, my kids always go, what? What do you mean? Like, you'll understand one day. Not now. Yeah, I hope they do. Well, no, I hope they don't actually ever have to go through it.
But she says the real gift was getting the news that her latest scan was clear.
It's like a huge relief. I mean, it's cancer. It always comes back sometime. It seems like. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that don't always get it back, but from what I understand, your medicine only works for so long, and then it comes back. So knowing that it's clear now and it's been 6 months, it's like, it feels a lot better than at 3 months knowing that it was clear, because there's been enough time for something to happen now, I feel like, and it hasn't, so I'm so happy.
And there's much more to that interview, plus a conversation with Pence's doctor. You can see Shelby Lofton's full story online at ksltv.com. So, do you own an Apple device? If so, get ready for a fresh coat of paint. ABC News technology reporter Mike Dubusky spoke to Utah's Morning News about the latest developments coming out of the Worldwide Developers Conference.
So a new look for pretty much all of Apple's software is the big takeaway from WWDC this year. This is Apple's annual developer conference going on this week at their headquarters in Cupertino, California. 2 years ago, this is the event where they launched the Vision Pro headset. Last year, they announced Apple Intelligence, which is their take on the sort of generative artificial intelligence game. And this year, the news is all about this new design language that they are calling Liquid Glass. This is going to apply to iOS for iPhones, iPad OS for iPads, things for the Apple Watch and CarPlay. They say this is the broadest redesign of their software since iOS 7 all the way back in 2013. And what it means in practice is that a lot of the apps that Apple includes within sort of the baseline iPhone experience are going to have a new effect. They're going to look a little bit more translucent. They're going to reflect through some of your background or whatever appears on the screen behind you. So it kind of has this look of glass, or a sort of frosted glass, and that sort of design ethos permeates through things like the settings tab, things like the phone app, the camera. It's really a significant change that I think a lot of people are going to notice once this rolls out more broadly, likely in the fall.
And what about AI? Is Apple getting better at it?
So AI has been a bit of a debacle for Apple over the last year. As we said, they launched Apple Intelligence at WWDC last year. A number of the features that they advertised at that conference are still not available to the public today. And there's been a lot of reporting about sort of internal division at the company. We're shuffling some teams to have different leaders involved in various projects. And it just has not been smooth sailing in the AI game for Apple. So the big question going into WWDC this year was, is Apple going to address that at all? And they really didn't. We don't have any more clarity on some of the features that haven't shipped, namely a smarter version of Siri, their voice assistant. We don't really know when that's going to roll out. doesn't seem like it's going to be this year. They did announce some new AI features, though, some of which are pretty interesting. Probably the most interesting of them is a new live translation feature that can live translate phone calls. So we could be on a phone call right now, and using AI, Apple will be able to determine what language I'm speaking and translate it for you. That also applies to FaceTime, which is their video chatting service, where you'll see little subtitles crop up on the screen. There's a new call screening feature that uses AI, which picks up phone calls from unknown numbers and only notifies you when the caller gives their name. It's kind of designed to cut down on spam. They're also siloing text messages from unknown numbers into their own separate page for you to approve. A lot of that kind of aimed at cutting down on the spammy text messages that a lot of people receive. So a number of AI features cropping up here and there, mostly in sort of quality of life applications, but some of the bigger name features we just haven't heard about.
That was ABC News' Mike Dubusky on Utah's Morning News. iOS 26 is set to be released in September, right alongside the new iPhone 17 series. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Britt Johnson. I'm in for Maria Shilaos. She has the day off. Some of the stories we're watching this hour. Algae blooms already popping up in Utah's water. And a new scam targeting Utahns trying to get their passports. And we have KSL traffic. Ricky, what's going on?
We have a disabled vehicle in Draper. It's been moved out of traffic at the top of the exit ramp northbound I-15 at Bangerter Highway, but it is blocking a left lane. Britt?
And we're going to take a look at our weather. It's hot out there. We've reached the 90-degree mark, and it's only going to get warmer. A high of 94 today, and then tomorrow climbing to 96. Woo! And it's going to stay in that mid-90 range all the way through this next week. KSL's top stories in just about a minute, but first, the latest from ABC News.
A major shift at the CDC could impact the types of vaccines Americans receive. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. terminated all 17 members of the independent advisory panel that makes recommendations on vaccines. ABC's Steve Osunsami says Kennedy says he'll replace them with his picks. That's created a walkout at CDC headquarters in Atlanta.
We talked to a group of some of these employees. Some of them were retirees who decided to leave the agency because they saw what was happening, and they're concerned about what this means to the American public, and also tell us they're concerned about who replaces these individuals.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom has filed an emergency order asking a federal judge to intervene and stop federal troops from deploying. President Trump mobilized those federal troops to help with unrest over immigration raids in the city. The president in North Carolina this hour, he'll deliver remarks at Fort Bragg Army Base celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary. This is ABC.
Right now, President Trump is speaking at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. The base, which was formerly known as Fort Liberty, is serving as the Army's Special Operations Command headquarters, all as part of the celebrations for the Army's 250th birthday. Today's event comes after the president mobilized the National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles after days of protesting and rioting there. We're going to listen in to a bit of what the president is saying.
And especially our Army paratroopers truly go all the way. You know that expression, all the way. It's one of your beautiful expressions. As President of the United States, let me express my undying gratitude to our nation for every soldier here today, for every veteran and their families, those incredible families that are with us and all across America, and for every patriot who has worn the uniform over 250 years. Can you imagine that? We thank you from the absolute bottom of our hearts. Few places loom larger in Army lore than where we are gathered today. The one and only Fort Bragg, the one and only Fort Bragg. But remember, it was only that little brief moment that it wasn't called Fort Bragg. It was by the Biden administration, not Trump. I had nothing to do with it. We got it changed. We said, you know, I came here numerous times and everybody, they kept saying Fort Bragg, Fort Bragg. I said, you know, it's not the name, but then I was making a speech. I said, what do you think I should call this place? Call it Fort Bragg. I said, Fort Bragg, how you doing? We won a lot of battles from this place, and that's the way it is. It wasn't even close. When Pete and some of the generals came to see me, I said, not even close, not even close. This is the home of the Green Berets, the Sky Dragons, and the All-American 82nd Airborne. We know what 82nd Airborne Division. This is where the GIs who won the Second World War learned to pack their parachutes and push howitzers and go right into those C-47s with lots of arms and push them right out those big, beautiful doors and wield their bayonets and pry the enemy from the hedgerows of the French countryside. France needed us badly. We were there. A lot of people needed us badly. They still do, maybe worse than ever. It was here in the soil that the Army forged the metal that held strong at Bastogne. It was here the mighty paratroopers earned their wings before they rained down death from above to liberate Sicily, Normandy, and even the Netherlands. That's right. We saved the Netherlands. Every inch of this base is steeped in the legacy of those warriors who have said with pride, "Sir, I trained at Fort Bragg, sir." That was pretty cool. And that is why we restored the historic name of this very, very special place. I don't know if it could be the same place. Fort Bragg is in, that's the name. And Fort Bragg, it shall always remain. That's never going to be happening again. And for a little news for the fake news back there, the fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, look at them. Look at them all. Oh, what I have to put up with. Fake news.
We've been listening to President Trump speak at a celebration for the Army's 250th anniversary at Fort Bragg. We'll continue to keep an eye on this. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
We still have slower speeds going through the work zone southbound I-15, Kaysville to Farmington in Davis County, and in Draper, an accident blocking part of the left lane and left shoulder. This is at the top of the ramp from northbound I-15 at Bangerter Highway. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialist. Whipple that away. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have clear skies and 90-degree highs for the next week, so it's getting warm out there. Pull out that sunscreen. You might need it. Right now, it's 90 degrees and sunny from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-471-9773. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-471-9773. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-471-9773. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-471-9773. That's 800-471-9773.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson, in for Maria Shilaos. If you need a new passport, listen up. There's a new scam targeting people trying to renew or apply for passports and visas. A website posing to be for passport and visa renewal is requiring people to pay for applications that would otherwise be free. Vice President of Outreach for the Better Business Bureau, Timothy Johnston, tells KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez it's becoming increasingly common.
According to the Federal Trade Commission, the number one scam reported last year were imposter scams. This is where somebody is impersonating a well-known organization or agency, much like the U.S. government. And this is not the first time that we have seen a website impersonate a government agency, in this case, like the U.S. State Department, where you can get your passport and visas. Really what it comes down to is don't leave these crucial elements to your travel to the last thing that you need to do, especially if you are traveling internationally where you do need that passport or potentially a visa. These things can take time, and these unscrupulous businesses, sometimes even scammers, are hoping that you'll do a quick search online, like say U.S. passport, and you'll click on one of those links that appears at the top. And I think if you've been on the internet long enough that sometimes clicking those first few links is not the best thing, because unscrupulous businesses and scammers will often buy ads to appear there as well. You want to make sure that if you are looking to do a passport or a visa, that whether it's getting a new one or renewing, that you need to be working and looking for a .gov website. A lot of these impersonations will have maybe state in it, or even I just did a quick search for passport renewal, and the first thing that came up had gov in the name, and then it was a .com. So they're hoping that you don't really pay attention too closely to the URL. You want to make sure that you are dealing with directly with the state government or with the federal government, and that it ends in a .gov.
And scammers are counting on the fact that you may not remember exactly how things go when renewing a passport, because people usually only have to renew it every 10 years. Or if it's your first time applying, you may not know what to expect and you just start following instructions. And these scammers will often ask for payments just to start the process. And the scary part is that passports also require very secure personal information. So you could be out money and risk your identity. If you do end up in a situation like this, don't hesitate just because you're embarrassed about it, because you need to take action right away.
What can happen in these scenarios is that you've provided some very personal information, including your birth date and your social security number. By providing that to somebody that you don't know, the potential is there for identity fraud or identity theft. And so a great resource that's available is the FTC's identitytheft.gov, and that's where you can report the identity theft and also create a personal recovery plan. Also good, if you believe that you might be a victim of identity theft, is to also reach out to the 3 different credit reporting bureaus and freeze your credit to make it more difficult for a scammer to open a new account, whether it's a credit card or a loan in your name. You can report it to the BBB Scam Tracker. We would encourage people to do that because that can help others learn from your experience. And that information is also shared with the Federal Trade Commission, and also wouldn't be a bad thing to report it directly to the U.S. Department of State. They have a site online where you can report that. That way you're letting as many people know as possible. But definitely, if you think you're going to be you're a potential victim of identity fraud, report that to identitytheft.gov.
And there is a fee to receive a visa or passport, but the official channels won't ask for the payment up front to start the process. So keep an eye out for that red flag. When you apply the correct way, you will be allowed to fill out all the forms, and only when it's completed will you need to pay that fee. In other news, if you're planning a trip to the water, keep a close eye out for algal blooms. Officials say some harmful blooms have been spotted in several different areas of the state. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
We're just definitely getting into a heavier growing season.
Utah Division of Water Quality environmental scientist Ellen Bailey tells me the water is heating up, so it's normal to start seeing algae grow this time of year. Plus, this year,
we haven't had a lot of weather cycles to disturb the systems, and so that, I think that can add to some of these blooms occurring.
Officials say harmful algae has already been spotted around Zion National Park as well as Provo Bay on Utah Lake. Zion National Park is actually now telling people to not drink their stream water, but to instead carry water or filter it directly from a spring. Bailey says not all algae is harmful, but the ones that are tend to look like green clumps or a bluish-green mat.
Often the harmful algal blooms will look like a spilled paint on the water surface.
Bailey says some places might not see harmful algae until as late as this fall, but for now, if you do see algae, don't swim in it, don't drink it, and don't let your pets near it either, or you could end up getting really sick.
It's really hard to know whether it's going to be toxic or not, so just best to stay out if you see anything.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
And you can get more information on algal blooms around the state by visiting deq.utah.gov. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Regardless of how old your air conditioner is, there are a few things you can do to help it last as many summers as possible. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and like so many things in our life, it's easy to take our air conditioner for granted. If you keep a clean filter, rinse the outdoor unit off every once in a while, and have it serviced once a summer, you can reduce your risk of unexpected breakdowns. But eventually it will break down. And if someone tells you that your only option is to replace it, don't be afraid to get a second opinion. You could save thousands of dollars repairing it instead of replacing it. Any Hour rarely comes across an air conditioner that just can't be repaired. That doesn't mean you won't choose to replace it anyway, but being told you don't have options, that's not cool. So if you want honest answers and straightforward options, give Any Hour Services a call. And remember, every week this summer, Any Hour Services is giving away an air conditioner to one lucky customer as part of our Coolest Summer Sweepstakes. No purchase is necessary. You can see official rules or schedule your service at anyhour.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
As we move into summer, we usually get plenty of chances to get outside with our families, but we also might struggle to get our kids off of screens. It feels like they're attached to their phones, like it's a third arm or something. But this week is Family Connection Week, an initiative from Governor Spencer Cox aimed at getting families to unplug and reconnect through meaningful screen-free activities. So how can you and your family rediscover each other? Do you even know what your family members look like without a screen in front of their face? Well, we're going to bring someone on who's putting down the phones and the computers and the iPads all to connect with their loved ones. Steph Bassett, thanks for joining me today.
For sure.
So tell me a little bit about Family Connection Week.
Okay, so Family Connection Week is just this week, Monday through Friday. Families are encouraged to take some time to put down your devices and just be with each other, do some activities. And it doesn't mean that you have to put your screens away and you don't work and all that for the whole week, but just taking some intentional time to be together.
And are you putting this into practice? What are you and your family doing?
So we have definitely decided that this is a challenge that we're willing to take. At first, I was a little hesitant. I thought, well, my husband and I both work and my kids are doing summer school, so I thought, well, screens are going to be part of our week. I don't necessarily know how we can unplug, but as I realized, it doesn't mean that we, disregard all of the responsibilities that we have to do, but just setting aside time where we're specifically not having devices there and planning fun activities. And so we had a lot of fun last night. We went and played some bubble soccer at an event that was going on for just the soccer team that my son's a part of. And then we went on a drive without any screens, and we got pretty silly. I have little kids, so we were howling at the full moon and holding our breath and lifting up our feet when we drove under the overpasses, and it was awesome. We had a lot of laughter and just things that,
typically kids are on their screens and they don't want to take a breath to look out the windows or any of that. I think that's kind of a lost art for this upcoming generation. But it was really fun to just, ride in the car, talk and laugh. And that's something that would have been a little different were we not trying to do the Family Connection Week.
And have you noticed a difference in, I don't know, how people are acting or responding when they've had this extended screen-free time?
For sure. I was asking my little kids today, I said, what have you guys noticed as we've done Family Connection Week? And of course, they were teasing their teenage brothers and saying, usually they're just playing on their phones, but they actually looked up and hung out with me. And I have to commend my 15-year-old who organized a kid sleepover last night with his little siblings, and they told ghost stories and they were laughing a lot, and they stayed up way too late, but it was really sweet that he orchestrated that to spend time with those siblings. And definitely, I think the kids get along better especially when parents are intentional about taking time to put down the screens and provide activities that help us be together, but with some stuff to do, not just everybody sitting around. So they definitely have gotten along better. It's been really fun.
Have you, in your family, had to do a little bit of prep work, like you said, to have some activities on hand? Otherwise, kids just start gravitating to the screens?
For sure. We've had to make some plans in advance. We're all going to go to a movie on Friday. I know that's still a screen, but without our personal devices, I feel like we'll be able to create some good memories. And we're going to do a hike on Saturday. And today we had an impromptu dance party in the kitchen after lunch, which was super fun. And, it does take effort, especially as parents. Our whole lives are digital with our jobs and the way we communicate with people. But I was thinking, if our kids if they never see our eyeballs, because every time they try to talk to us, we're in the middle of a text or some other task on our device, that we are probably not going to be the first place they will come when they have a challenge. And so spending time together as a family creates those relationships and helps strengthen them so that you're having fun together. And then when challenges come, your kids know that they have a safe place they can come talk to because of all the fun that you've had together and the efforts you've spent to build those relationships.
Yeah, that's a great point. And when I hear this, I think, yes, okay, we're in. We're going to do this. But I think a lot of families have that great intention, and then they think, that feels overwhelming, and it's easier said than done. Do you have any tips for a lot of families that we can kind of baby step our way into this?
For sure. Like I mentioned, when I first heard about this, I was a little bit intimidated, thinking that it's not really practical to expect everybody to unplug for a whole week, even though I think most of us would love that. If someone, crushed our laptop with a meat tenderizer or smashed our phone, we'd be frustrated, but then we'd feel kind of this burden and this weight lifted as we had some freedom for a little bit there. But I think just maybe saying you don't have to plan some incredible thing, and you don't have to, lock up your phone in a safe so that you can disconnect. But, sometimes we need our phones to communicate with people that we're going to do an activity with, or for a map to get there, all sorts of things. But just taking the little moments of time where you're eating together as a family, and instead of everybody have their phone at the table, maybe phones don't come to the dinner table or when you're, any meal, and putting that phone down lets us talk to the people that we're around and look each other in the eyes. And in our digital world, that sometimes is a huge barrier. We all have a screen in front of our face. So I also think it doesn't have to be a big activity or a big something, but truly just sit around the table and talk or play a game. Keep it really, really simple, but make sure that you're having intentional time every day when you put the screens down.
Definitely. Well, Steph Bassett, thank you so much for joining me today.
You bet.
All right. Coming up next on Middays, are your books secretly out to get you? It's not a conspiracy. Some books might actually be killing you slowly. That story in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Crews are wrapping up a crash in West Valley, California Avenue at 3500 West, an early onset traffic building southbound I-15, Murray to Midvale. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking for reliable home services you can actually count on? I've got just the team for you. Mountain Home Services. They've been serving Utah since 1954 with honest, upfront pricing and zero hidden fees. Plus, they back every job with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. With summer heating up, now's the time to get your AC in shape. Mountain Home Services delivers fast, expert air conditioning service to keep your home cool and comfortable. And don't forget, they also handle electrical and plumbing work with the same trusted care. And here's the best part. KSL listeners get exclusive limited-time specials, but you have to call and ask. These deals won't last, so don't miss your chance to save. Call 801-543-2222 today and tell them KSL sent you. That's 801-543-2222 or visit mountainhomeservices.com. Get the service you need and the deal you deserve.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
This is Midday. I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos, she's on vacation. If books could kill, did you know that book binders used to use arsenic in book covers? Now, there's an effort underway to better show which books are safe to handle and read. Lois Collins, Deseret News reporter, sat down with KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson to talk about the new technology that has the potential to free thousands of old books from quarantine.
And it's primarily books from the 1800s. These books that are cloth bound with the beautiful green covers probably contain arsenic, or at least have a good likelihood of containing arsenic. And if you handle them a lot, or if you put them on a lower shelf and your kid, plays with them or something, that's not good. It's a health risk with arsenic exposure.
And Collins says they just didn't know it was bad at the time, and that's why they used it to enhance the color. But now researchers have a new way to sort through which books may contain the poisonous substance.
So there's an international consortium started dealing with the issue when they realized there was so much arsenic. And they set tons of libraries set aside like tens of thousands of books that might have this, but it was really expensive to test them. And so just to be safe, they kind of quarantined the books. And now the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, working with its library system and with some of its geologists and other experts, has come up with a tool that uses light, and it shines different types of light, different degrees of light and colors of light on book covers. And there's a very specific reflection that says, yeah, this is the emerald green that you're worried about. This has arsenic in it. So in a matter of seconds, they could actually go through a book with this portable device. They could go through your library and say, this one is okay, this one's okay, this one's okay, this one's not. And that's a real new innovation that's going to help. It's not only going to help protect the public or researchers from books that might be dangerous, but it's also going to return to circulation some great books that have been set aside because they might be.
Colin says, even if you love old books and think one of yours may contain arsenic, the risk of having severe and adverse effects is relatively low. All right, thanks for joining us on Middays. I'm looking forward to Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news. He's got a local story for his Minute of News that I think is going to be really intriguing. That's coming up on KS.